Okay, we are back, and I hope you all learned a valuable lesson. Every single time you guys ask for us to start the match, I'm going to add a second to the next break. So be careful, chat, okay? I'll do it. Everyone knows I'm a madman. I'll do it. But we are just moments away from getting the players out on stage and jumping into the action here. Yeah, for this final series of the weekend. It's going to be amazing. Yep. And I'm going to go back. I'm going to tally them up. I'm going to have a little notepad, put it in my ledger, and write down. Just be like, okay, look at that. Boom. Another minute added. Until production, we're going to get it done. So be careful with your words, guys. Just sit back, relax, and enjoy the game when it starts, okay?
Hope you guys all got your Preds in tonight as well.
Yes.
This is going to be one of the more difficult matches to call in terms of who's going to win. If you're struggling, maybe, well, first of all, it's too late. I think the Preds are already locked in. But hypothetically, if you were struggling and you weren't sure, then one of the ways you could have decided is, do you like the Panda team or do you like the Tiger team?
True.
Yeah? Panda or Tiger. But if you're an Orange team fan who isn't the Philadelphia Fusion, then you're doing great tonight. So, Orange team's good. At least 2 out of 3 of them. And one of these Orange teams will be going to the Summer Showdown, as I've said previously. But Seoul haven't been there yet. Seoul are one of those teams who... And they're 3rd seed here. And they're overall, if I double-check as well, I think they're very highly placed in the Eastern Division in general in terms of where their points are. So they're 2nd on points. Seoul Dynasty is 2nd on points at 9 points. They're 2 points ahead of Philadelphia Fusion. And, 6 points below Shanghai. So the 2nd place in APAC is 6 points below Shanghai, and they're 2 points above the next. Chengdu are currently on 7 points, tied with Philly and Hangzhou. So these, 3 teams all on 7 points. New York on 5, Guangzhou on 3, LA Valiant on 0. So basically what I'm trying to get to is Seoul is one of the higher performing teams, especially from the Eastern Division, that has actually not made a tournament yet.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's one of those unfortunate things. There's a couple squads over in NA that are, having similar scenarios laid out for them where they are putting up some really good regular season results, but then just kind of fall short right at the end of the line. Houston's kind of one of the teams that comes to mind in that regard, where they have a really good record overall.
Washington.
Shock. Exactly. I mean, there's a plethora of them. But when there's only just those 2 slots that get to take that nice little trip over to Hawaii, sometimes you get cut out, and Dallas
one of them always
seems
goes
like
to
they're
Dallas,
a mainstay.
And one of them always goes to Shanghai. So really, it's just one spot, isn't it?
That's
Achille?
true.
There's one
spot per
to
side.
go, one spot per division to go to Hawaii to go to the tournament finals. If you're not called Shanghai Dragons or the Dallas Fuel, so for everybody else, for all 18 other teams, there's only one spot each, which is pretty nuts. And Chengdu's been there once. New York's had a trip there, but they got stopped short this time. So, by the way, the 4-0 curse. We are going to have to really see what happens here, because for the past 2 tournament cycles in a row, 4-0 curse has prevented the first seed 4-0 teams from that tournament cycle from actually making it into the tournament itself. But now, the difficulty of the 4-0 curse is that the 2 best teams have them. It's Dallas Fuel and Shanghai Dragons. And, Shanghai Dragons have already defeated that curse because they're so powerful, not even a curse can stop them. Dallas will most likely, go through result. We'll have to see. They have a couple games still to play through later today, actually. So, right now, the 4-0 curse is officially broken, at least on this side of the world.
All right, well, we'll have to see if it's going to happen, around the world, or if APAC is just so good, if the Dragons are just so good that they're the only ones that could persevere and shatter the curse themselves. We'll find out in just a little bit. As we go down the line, you got to see those matches. I'm contemplating staying up and checking them out. Didn't get to stay up last night.
It's a lot of them.
Too late. I saw the first series, but unfortunately I wasn't able to stay up and see that final series where I absolutely nailed the hell out of my pred with a 3-2 for the Justice over the Gladiators.
You did. I went the other way. I got a 3-2, but I went the other way around, so I got punished for that.
You went in with the desk. You'd never go in with the desk. When the desk is unanimous, sometimes it's often going to make...
well before the desk. I went way before that.
I just like to call those guys out from time to time. It's always fun to poke and prod between the regions. But, I was happy. I was very happy to wake up and see that one. But, guys, I know. Trust me. I'm sure that is going off in the chat right now. We're probably going to have a 15-minute break after the first map at this rate. We'll tally that up. In a little bit, but just hang tight with us. The players, they're all in the lobby. We're just waiting for them to do their walkouts. So probably, they got to stretch, Make sure that they're not going to get any cramps when they're walking out on the stage. You don't want to trip. Make sure your shoelaces are tied. So there's a lot of preparation that goes into this. But it seems like we might just be ready for it now as we do take a look inside the venue.
Have you ever seen a stage mishap on an esports event? I'm trying to remember if I don't think I have. I don't think I have.
At an esports event.
When I say a stage mishap at an esports event, I'm talking about like I said, like someone might just have a loose shoelace and it costs them, gives a bit of a tumble.
Yeah, tripping and falling over, that kind of thing.
We had funny ones where like Lee Jae Gon forgot to walk off the stage.
Yeah.
That doesn't really count though.
Of course, we have the classic. We have the classic seagull. We have the seagull handshake. That was with Malik. That was a big throwback one.
Actually, we did. I think it was. Yeah, it's the one where Pine. He didn't fall off the stage, but he kind of like. He misjudged how much stage there was left.
Oh, yeah.
York Excelsior back in the day were lining up together.
The chair fell off the back, yeah. That's probably the closest thing that we've had. I would say.
It was after they won. It was after they won a stage final. It was one of the times they won a stage final. They all lined up. And then he kind of just misjudged how much space was left, and he kind of just fell off the stage. Not like it was like, less than 1 foot of. It was the ramp going up into Bala, into stage of Bala. But I digress. That's all I remember.
I do miss that place from time to time. I got to play on that stage once upon a time, and that's all I remember about it.
Takedowns.
Yeah.
What's your record in talent takedown right now? How many times have you won?
I've only played in the one, and I'll admit it. Brent absolutely rocked me on the Widowmaker. There's nothing else to say. No, I didn't get to play last year, unfortunately. Though I was covering I covered the APAC region, like All-Stars stuff with Wolf. So that was our contribution. Okay. But guys, here we go. I'm getting ready to press the button to start the match. Don't worry. But first, we have to get the players out on stage, starting with the Seoul Dynasty. I say out on stage, but they're chilling here in Korea. But we'll get them up on your screen. Your starting 6 for Seoul, and not going to be any shocks. It's just going to be stock standard across the board. We still have Marvel starting, still no sign of Gesture. He's kind of receiving the Gaga treatment, but Fitz, Prophet, 2U, Hanamo, and Creative.
Yeah, it's Seoul going to be proverbially stepping on the stage here with Marvel on their main tank position. And no ranking with IBM, because I don't know what the minimum requirement is. Maybe you have to play a certain amount of time first. But it goes to show that Marvel has not had a lot of game time so far this season. And now he's their starting player. He's the guy that's going to be leading the way on the main tank position. Now the Chengdu Hunters on the other side. Yeah. Not quite the home team, but as close as you're going to get to it. Yveltal's actually coming out first. Same cargo shorts we saw yesterday. He's ready to go to Safari. There's the rest of the usual squad. Leave did leave his towel behind, so this time he's going to be working out without one. Don't do that, kids. Make sure you always bring a towel.
Yeah, you got to wipe down your station after you use it,
Exactly. He's got a station out. I do believe Among's going to be starting. Among has walked out on stage.
Yep.
As we pan over, there's Late Young, obviously with Elsa gone. And we did see that Late Young banner in the crowd as well, little sign. There it is himself, the original Yoda Chad, up in action. See how he does against Marvel.
Has anybody else ever, even remotely come close to taking the term Yoda Chad? It was basically invented
Chad
for
mate
him.
From Florida. It's basically just Chad mate from Florida, but that's still 50-50 in people's minds in terms of, where the line is.
Yeah. I'd say that title is very much still in his hands and likely will never be used for anybody else. But here we go. No real changes other than Yveltal coming out yet again. To start, we saw him and Faraway play on Eichenwald. And, he didn't have that much time to play because it was a really fast map. They just full-held the Valiant push for a tick. We did get to see him double up with Jinmu on the Pharah for a little bit of time. So that's pretty neat. So maybe we'll get some more of that here in this series now that he is starting.
And I think Pharah is going to be one of the question marks here as well. So this will be the big test to see if Seoul has learned from the mistakes of other teams in terms of, are you going to shoot this Pharah or not? Because there is this, and ZP has been complaining a lot about this, and for good reason as well, because it doesn't make a lot of sense when you have a, S-tier Pharah on the field, and you're just kind of, your strategy is ignore the Pharah. Now, if you're playing against a bad Pharah, I can understand how that could be working, but when I see stats, and I'm seeing Jinmu drop in, north of 15k damage per 10 on Pharah when no one shoots him, it's like, you can't just let him do that. So that's a question mark. That's even if he decides to run it. Most likely, it's just going to be Tracer into Sombra. Leave, obviously, on the Tracer. Jinmu playing the Sombra. bigger question will be seeing what Fitz is going to be doing.
I got you all. I hit the button, but then I hit it again. You guys can't see it yet. We're still looking at the venue, but at the moment, there's going to be a slight little pause.
So like when you teach an older person how to use a mouse, like you have to double click and they click like 10 times.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Nah, it was something very, very fast. Not sure exactly what's happening, but as we just continue to take a look here at the packed audience, I mean, I can't even imagine what it's going to sound like in here. I'm pretty certain it's going to be a very one-sided affair, though, as far as cheers for Chengdu is concerned, just given the the situation that we're in, given that it is a Chinese organization playing against a Korean organization.
You can see the map pool here. Obviously, the other 4 maps are unknown. We're going to be starting out of Busan, and that will just be map picks from here on out. And we'll, maybe have a bit of discussion about where teams may or may not want to go. I'm sure, based on the fact that Chengdu and Shanghai play similar style, maybe Chengdu want to dodge maps like Hanamura. We'll see. The good news is if Chengdu actually do lose this map, they have the choice for the 2CP, for the assault. Otherwise, I think Seoul will be looking for an advantage there with their potentially superior brawl. Let's just have a look at our opening lineups as well in terms of the compositions. No Fit Sombra. It's going to be Seoul playing their standard Tracer Ashe.
That they are. It was a Tracer, Jinmu here on the Sombra to begin. Yamato just going to be sticking to the Brigitte. Not too surprising, I suppose. I mean, Pharah definitely can be ran here, but when you have Fitz there on that Ashe, it becomes that much more dangerous, even though Jinmu is, the best Pharah in the league. Fitz is the first one to fall, though. Monk finds that opening kill. Now they press forward. Hack gets on the 2U, but he's not the one under fire. It's going to be Creative, who's getting jumped on at the moment. The pile driver will take him out. Marvel managing to find Jinmu, but now down a support. Healing going to be cut severely, as Anamo as well is just going to get ran over. A fantastic start for the Hunters. First cap is there for the Seoul Dynasty, but doesn't seem like they're going to be able to hold on to this for very long at all. 2U's heading back over towards the spawn. The flip comes in. Only 16% right now for Seoul.
Look at this. Shaddington Chadwick on the ball, just getting, a triple kill there. Takes down both supports, he takes down Creative, gets Animo, then Marvel's counterpart. That's flexing to the highest degree if I've ever seen it. The only issue here is that Jinmu did die early, so there's not going to be an early Sombra EMP coming through for the Hunters, but otherwise they do have a better ring of ultimate charges. Fitz has swapped over to the McCreek, so he's really now having to pay attention and respect the fact that this die from Hunters is good.
Yeah, not only that, but also trying to get some catches here with the flashbangs out on to leave on the Jinmu. Creative finds an opening kill as Monk will fall. As the Transcendent's now going to be out of the fight to push forward. Pulse Pump does not get the stick on the Yamato, but Prophet is still going to be good with his aim. Follows up, getting that kill, so support's eliminated, leave now gone. It seems like just like that, it'll be just as fast of a flip, basically, for the Dynasty to regain control of the map. We'll just see how long they can hold it for, because that EMP is incoming.
And you do also have the Transcendence from Monk as well. Didn't get a chance to use that one. And when you're versus a team that, in terms of the composition that Seoul are running, you can basically use these trances in a tempo fashion. You don't have to hold them for anything in particular. So that could have been a decent tempo trance from Monk. Kept the rest of the Hunters in the fight, took them up a little bit more, the percentage points. It's now been matched by Seoul. Still waiting for the EMP. It's a little far away. This hack is good though, but they can't get the kill.
Oh, it was so very close. The Transcendence does come through. Fitz kill on Amon, pops the Deadeye for just a little bit there, but then decides to cancel it, pulls back, wants to keep himself safe. Monk uses Transcendence as well. Now the EMP strikes from Jinmu. We've eliminated, but Prophet and Marvel both going to be falling. The rally now popped from Anamo. Difficult there as well, just armoring up their teammates, trying to stay in the fight. Dynasty trying to retain control of this point. 2U will be demeched and finished off here in the back lines. Final little smack from Jinmu will get the kill. Fitz is gone. Flip starting to come in, and it will be completed moments before Marvel comes pile driving down. Now he's going to be hacked out, farmed out, and the Chengdu Hunters, they have priority here.
3 jabs from Jinmu there to take down the Baby Diva. You have both of these Briggs using their rallies. Animo's one is maybe a little bit more risky because he's only got like 4 plays alive, including himself, but it does give them an extra, 20-ish% on the cap point. It does get, it does also draw out Yveltal's rally on the other hand, so it ends up evening out and giving them some decent room to maneuver with. Chengdu now equalizing on their own 67. Ultimates are basically gone here. And Monk, I was going to say, he's close to the trance, another opportunity for a tempo trance, but it's gone. No more supports.
Yeah, Prophet finding 2 is huge. This gives so much more space now to Creative to try to build up and match. And falling considerably further behind. Monk was doing a good job of building up. Still is going to have that Transcendence first online, but K-Monk getting taken out. There's just not much that the Chengdu Hunters can do without him. They need him to be the one contesting, to be causing chaos on the point, while the rest of the team looks for picks.
That's going to be a quick flip around as well. All off the back of Prophet. Nice double kill. Taking out both supports, especially Valto, and that really can't happen. You got to brig online for a reason. This is going to push Seoul probably towards the 99% mark, and Jinmu had a decent lead. It was at like 40% EMP after using it. Here comes that Deadeye from Fitz.
Oh, and he manages to find leave. Crucially, just flicks over to the left side, manages to get that shot in. Nicely done from Fitz. Now, 99% about to be on the board here for the Seoul Dynasty.
We need this Trance.
Late Young, he's going to be demacked. Trying to pistol his way back in. Among manages to find creative. Trance not going to be coming through. Among tries to pile drive, but he will get finished off, and nobody else is ready to play the point. They thought maybe Among was going to be able to get it done. The Seoul Dynasty, after a very back and forth round, will manage to take downtown.
That is just Hunters getting out-tempoed heavily, and beyond that as well, Monk holding severely onto this Transcendence. Realistically, as soon as Late Young started dying, that's a good opportunity for a Trance. Creative as well dies to Mines. Maybe that's slightly more unlucky, so both Zans just kind of feeding their lives away. It is Hunters, though, paying the ultimate price for it. On top of that as well, Jinmu never got his second EMP. I'm pretty sure he only got one EMP this entire sub-map, and this is the one we're seeing here. It catches 4. It's decent. After that, he got a nice manual hack onto Prophet. Maybe did that beforehand. His EMP charge rate was just far too slow, and you could see that Hunters were waiting. You could see that tempo was not in their favor, and they were waiting for an entry. They were waiting for someone to make a play, Among to make a play, Jinmu to find an EMP, and none of that happened.
Well, now a second chance for the Hunters. Need to win out here on Sanctuary to take us to make a base if they want to win this first map. We will have football composition here from the side of the Dynasty. Among trying to go in, gets rocked immediately by Tuyu. Solid accretion hit. Gets under some pressure in the back line. Will manage to stay alive, and Prophet pursues, finds the wrecking ball. Monk going to be picked off. Late Young now popped out of the mag. So yeah, Dynasty firmly locking down this point. Go ahead and grab this first and foremost. Go through Jinmu. Will manage to exit. He does farm half of an EMP in this first fight. So we'll have that fairly quickly, but Dynasty are in control for now.
Does that despite losing as well, which is reasonably impressive. You know, we're not quite on the lip schedule here, but it's okay. That's a nice solo kill. I was going to say Prophet has done a good job so far in this series of really slowing down Among and chasing him, securing these kills. Now there's no Prophet on board. This is a free dive. Tuyu's in trouble.
Oh, he's barely holding on by a thread, but the Orb of Harmony is not going to be enough. Needed some peel, needed an ammo next to him, but he did not have it. Discord Orb out from Monk is going to be good. He gets the headshot. Maybe it's just going to be yet another fast flip in favor of the Chengdu Hunters. Pulse Bomb also just about to be online here for Leaf, but doesn't need it to get rid of Marvel. Does that with the Pulse Pistols. He's chasing forward. Bob is creating a decent amount of space. He's stopping the Chengdu Hunters from really poking out from behind this drum.
They haven't capped.
But now he's gone, and yeah, they haven't capped quite yet. The Dynasty, they want to win this fight. They're going to continue forward. Late Young gets demeched. Monk dies again with the Transcendence online. Fitz with the Coach Gun will finish off Yveltal, and they will just wipe them off the back of Creative's Trance.
I think the Bob was really the issue there. They never really stopped the Bob. They couldn't focus the Bob down. They were too busy dealing with the rest of the Seoul members, so there was never a cap. And you can start to see Chengdu were winning that fight. All they needed to do was focus on that cap first, get that objective down, and even if they do lose, at least they've A, slowed down Seoul's cap percentage, and then B, also started their own. Now they're severely far behind. They need this EMP or catch 3.
Manages to find 3. Marvel the first to go. Cleve uses the Pulse Bomb to get that elimination. Everybody else able to stabilize, stay in the fight. Can they stretch this out yet again? Would be a major turnaround, but this time Creative doesn't have the Transcendence. He's not really receiving, wasn't really receiving that rally armor from Anamo, who now himself is under fire. He's kiting back, but Dynasty, they still have not given up this point quite yet. Still playing through with this. Marvel rejoins, falls low. Mindfield's going to be coming down. He tries to get the pile driver off, can't make it happen. And Leave is just hounding him at every twist and turn. Now gets in behind Anamo, gives him a nice catch-22 scenario. Whichever way you turn around, you are going to get killed off. So they get that finish, but 99% is here for Dynasty. They have time on their side.
I can tell you right now, between these two teams, of all 12 players, there's only 3 kills and deaths between them. That means you have Seoul Dynasty only leading by 3 frags. That's not a lot, but they have 99% because Chengdu can never really secure enough plays, get this cap underway. And by the way, Fitz is above 15,000 per 10 right now in terms of damage. He's already got a second Bob, and he just used one last fight, so he's really farming up fast. Jinmu's out of the picture now as well, and it could be Among to follow.
Yeah, leaves Pulse Bomb taken out. Major pick off there with the D-Matrix. Solid look from 2U. Now he pursues, tries to get the finishing blow, and he will manage to find it. Leave is going to be on the fight, but Creative falls as well. Transcendence here from Monk, trying to keep everybody else topped up. This leads to A-Monk finding 2 kills. He's looking for a third as he chases in onto Marvel. As he rolls all the way back over to spawn. Fitz, however, will get caught up in the crossfire. The Chengdu Hunters will manage to stave off the Dynasty yet again, now at 50%.
An extremely low HP Marvel just leads A-Monk into an extremely low HP Fitz. Like, hey, you can have this guy instead. I'm going to stay alive. And A-Monk's like, I will have Fitz instead, actually. That sounds like a great idea, as now Fitz will go over towards the McCree for what will be the last 40-ish kind of percent here that Chengdu have to play through. There's a good chance that Chengdu can make it to their own 99. Should be translocated gone. He's at 97. Would love to be farming right now, but can't afford to come out of the invis. So there is a way for Chengdu to actually clean this one up and force us to Mecha Base. One good EMP, while Creative does not have trans, can give this over.
Just waiting. Lurking around, trying to spot out his best angle of approach. Sees both of the DPS duo. You presses in, manages to find him. They force the translocate out. Might be able to buying a little bit of space here. Creative gets tagged up, but still holds on to that Transcendence crucially. Rally early comes out from Yellow. Transcendence now going to be used. Creative trying to keep everybody alive. Marvel is not here to receive this healing, however. He's playing back over on the point, but he is going to be dead as he tries to pile drive down. Now they have to contest the rest of this point. 2 members down to the Seoul Dynasty. Pulse Bomb goes out. It's going to fall. That's 3 members now eliminated. Adamo and 2U, they just won't be able to stay forward here. 2U gets Team Mech. I think he may have been hacked, so couldn't try to use that self-destruct. And that is going to be critical here for the Chengdu Hunters to be able to close this out. Marvel re-arrives, gets himself situated up on top of the drum, but he's just got nowhere to go. Jinmu can continue to just hack member after member as they push out. And it's another very close round here. The Chengdu Hunters will be taking us to Mecha Base to settle the score.
Yeah, it's a 0 to 99 comeback coming through from Chengdu as well, so it's a very slow uptick. Here you go. The late young fans super happy about that one as well in the crowd, and this is now Chengdu with an opportunity. However, I do have to say Mecha Base not really that great for a lot of Sombra gameplay compared to what we've seen previously. Seoul are going to be sticking to the guns in terms of the non-Sombra dive comps today. Double shield will be the option. Fitz unlikely to be staying on towards Symmetra. Probably going to be the McCree again, especially if they're expecting Jinmu to come through on towards the Sombra. Let's take a look at that final fight. And like I sort of said, Marvel was the first one dead. So the EMP comes through, only catches 2U. And then both Marvel and Creative are dead.
Lack of awareness there from Creative, just backing straight up into that mine. Gives his life away. I don't think it would have been the difference maker. Still, not a great look. He packed here from Jinmu as he tries to farm up. Has to jump away instantly, though. Keep himself protected.
Kind of dives A-Monk can set up as well was the point is going to unlock in a few seconds. At this point in time, especially with Jinmu dead, Seoul go straight towards the point. They know they can start aggressing on the objective, and Chengdu, they just have to contest.
They're doing their damnedest. Leaf falling low. Recalls the perfect moment. Seemed like Fitz was going to be able to line up that shot to get the finishing kill there. Stays alive, and Leaf is still harassing from the sidelines right now. Point is locked down. Good bubble from Late Young. Stops A-Monk from being stunned by the flashbang. Solid predictive play there. It's Marvel tries to play up onto the point. Fortify is out, but it's not going to be enough. He still is going to get ripped apart. A-Monk tries to roll in, tries to get that knockback on the 2U. Gets interrupted by the raising wall, but look at Late Young right now. Nearly 100 energy on this Zarya. He is terrifying, but to get him on the side of the map, that's a crucial pick. A great one there from Anama with the whip chop, and Leaf takes out Creative with a pulse bomb, and the flip has come through for the Chengdu Hunters. Only 26% accrued for the Seoul Dynasty before they lose out on it. Then they lose the back end of the fight.
I gotta say, Late Young being that charged up is got him an 87% towards a Graviton Surge, which is massive, but also, secondly and most importantly, has a lot of damage through it. So Seoul is throwing everything at this guy. Their full attention is on Late Young, and Leave gets a run amok for free. He finds critical kills, gets Creative down before the window can be applied. Now the window is here. Let's see what he can do with that one. I'm pretty sure Chengdu can just back out and not play into it.
Stuns on A-Monk with some absolutely massive adaptive shield. Keeps himself very safe. Late Young will be a casualty on the back end of the Graviton Surge. Transcendence now burnt by Monk. EMP comes through. Prophet makes it into the ice block fast enough for the rest of the team. They just don't have that. They don't have that opportunity, unfortunately. It's not in their kit. They will get shredded Monk the only casualty here on the side of the Chengdu Hunters, but otherwise they are looking very cozy on Mecha Base thus far.
Profits change over the top. You can tell that right now Seoul Dynasty are giving away some of their other win conditions. Profits played a really good tracer so far. The fact that he's going Torb means Seoul Dynasty are double down and tripling down on a bunker type composition. They're playing far more defensively. 2U's on the Diva here as well. I think he's been on Diva for a little bit here, just for the extra defensive matrix.
They're just playing this forward right now. The Chengdu Hunters, stick goes into the back, but it's only going to find the Immortality Field as well as the Supercharger. But Fitz, now Profit still going to get eliminated. Among is taken out. It's a 2 for 2 thus far, but the Dynasty are cutting back over towards the spawn. They're trying to stay alive. Leave gets down to 23 HP, will make an exit back over towards the point, which is currently about to press 90%. Dynasty, they have to be all in on this. They have to get this flip.
You know it's bad when Fitz is on the Tracer now. You know that's when it's really, really bad for the Seoul Dynasty. Like, Profit should be on the Tracer. Marvel's hacked out. Now, you need the supports to come online. Both Window and the Rally are going to be popped here. They need multiple frags. Seoul is so far behind. EMP's coming as well.
Yeah, Among will fall. I mean, Jinmu, he could just try to save this if they don't want to try to get this flip right now, but he's going to throw it out the wall. He does not play around the wall at all. He completely loses the EMP, doesn't manage to find anybody, and it's a major window of opportunity here for the Seoul Dynasty. They are going to grab hold of this. Leaf will find Fitz. Profit can't quite get rid of that enemy Tracer, but the Dynasty, off the back of a major botched EMP, they get the flip, they get another chance.
The problem is, not only does Jinmu not get fantastic EMPs, they're slow as well. We've got an average ult charge time of 142. Again, the golden standard is somewhere around 110 or maybe 1 minute if you want to be extremely good like Lip. But he's 30-ish seconds behind right now from standard, I think, for me. So Jinmu needs to do a little bit of work there. Fitz is down, though, so have a 6v5 and a grab.
They're grabbing him on the high ground. They could just go ahead and get this flip and force out the OT right now. They finally do manage to recontest. 2U touches in. Pulse Bomb comes out to you, now going to be D-Mech. Supercharger's thrown in from Marvel, but he's just being focus fired with the Discord Orb. Profit finds Late Young, but just like that, right back in control are the Chengdu Hunters, and the Dynasty are just bleeding dry on members. Fitz has to try to keep things extended here alongside Creative. For now, they're getting this coming back into their favor. 70% moving upwards. Among resets off the side of the map.
Dude, they actually survived that. That's incredible. I mean, they only had a couple supports alive. Fitz was there as well. They bought themselves another chance here, and it's going to go 99 to 99. We're going to full distance here on Mecha Base. Jinmu has another EMP. This is his redemption moment. He can land a beautiful EMP here, backed up by a rally. There's going to be a rally on both sides. Animo's going to have to pop this rally instantly as soon as he's gone.
There's the rally from Yevotol just offering up so much armor now to Monk to make him that much more sustainable.
Oh, the hack!
Hack on a Marvel. They collapse. Leaf finds the killing blow. The minefield is out as well. The EMP is going to look good, much better compared to the last one. Finds 3. Namo now falling low. Discord Orb out onto him. He will get finished. Profit is only able to find Yevotol thus far. This DPS duo needs to do more work, and they need to do it right now if they want any hope. And right now, it seems like it would take an absolute miracle to make it happen. Leaf gets into the back. Fitz does manage to capitalize. Comes out on top, getting the headshot. But can he do anything? He's low HP. He's 6% away from a Pulse Bomb. And now he's recalled off the point, which that OT is going to start bleeding away faster and faster. Among eliminated. Jinmu taking a short hop here. Gets over, tries to stay safe, but Monk is eliminated. Maybe they actually might be able to make this happen. The flip is going to be coming through in just a moment. They just have to clear off the point. Yevotol down to a sliver of HP. Pulse Bomb from Leaf. Manages to find Creative. They get back in. The flip is there. The OT starts bleeding away so very rapidly, and they can clear it with the self-destruct that 2U now has available. Profit comes back in on the Soldier 76. He's trying to lock down Among. He rolls over to the side. The explosion gets him in the Dynasty. They pull the rug out from underneath the Chengdu Hunters, and in one of the closest rounds of control that I have seen in a very long time. They will take Mecha Base. They will take Busan.
That was tight. You can see the Seoul Dynasty happy with that result. That was nearly gone from them. Probably should have been gone, to be honest with you.
Unreal.
Consider the fact that Jinmu got, speaking of unreal manual hack with the Marvel to start that. That was a 6v5.
Yeah.
And that was a really good 6v5. They have Leave going nuts as well. They started to delete Creative despite Animo's rally running on through. Massive player advantage, but they couldn't get enough cleanups. I think 2U survived for an unreal amount of time also. And then Profit on this Torb. He pops, you know, the Molten Core. He overdrives. He's just got a ton of armor. He doesn't die. And because it takes so long to get Profit down, the rest of Seoul Dynasty, I knew as soon as Marvel came back and he's starting to affect the fight again, and then Profit's able to respawn and come back on a Soldier as well, it's like, okay, this is when Seoul can really clutch up. Animo's on a Lucio, which is pretty decent at this point in the game.
Yeah.
It's so clutchable for Seoul, and the kills and the damage just start to slow down massively for Chengdu.
Yeah, much more sustainability. You have that biotic field as well, so Prophet can just kind of sit tight and just fire off shots, shred people. But man, I mean, if that is if that's a teaser for what the rest of the series is going to be, then I'm ready to strap in, because that was one hell of an exciting map of Busan. All 3 rounds, basically all of them going the distance, and then a nail-biter finish for the Dynasty. They do start up 1-0, but I'm sure that the Chengdu Hunters, they are going to be hungry to reply with a win of their own. Temple of Anubis is going to be coming up next, so don't go anywhere, guys. The action continues in just a few minutes.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile. The Overwatch League is brought to you by Coca-Cola, the official refreshment of the Overwatch League, and by IBM, the official cloud and AI partner of the Overwatch League.
Alrighty, we are back, and we're just one map into our final series of the Shanghai homestand. Seoul Dynasty barely scrape away a victory, kind of just clutching that one out of the jaws of defeat. Away from the Chengdu Hunters. It seemed like they were going to have that round of mecha base. They started it off extremely well. They held it up to 99%, and Dynasty just managed to win this crazy back-and-forth final fight. They get the flip. The OT bleeds away with one last explosion from Tuyu, and they start things off with a win. So it's a good look for them, but seems like this is still going to be an extremely hard-fought series. We do have a substitution, though, as Gaga will be stepping in for Among.
Yeah, we did see Among kind of walking away from the stage, packing up his keyboard and peripherals there, so Gaga's going to be coming on in. We do know Gaga's obviously still around and doing stuff. We confirmed that he did play yesterday, so it seems like Chengdu are just kind of experimenting or changing up how they want to be playing their tank line. Maybe it's a stylistic difference in terms of the individual plays, in terms of how they play, but both Gaga and Among pretty much have the same hero pool, so it's still, to me, not exactly clear or certain where the decision making is or why they may be putting in one play over the other. But we'll have to see now what improvements we can find out of Gaga coming in for Among, as this will now be, I think, the clear-cut starting lineup for the Chengdu Hunters. Most of the players that you normally see on the bench are currently on the bench right now, and this is where Chengdu need to really pull up their pants a little bit, because that last fight on Mecha Base, like you sort of said there, was really a great start for Chengdu, and it slipped through their fingers. They can't afford to have that happen again.
I mean, we still do have Yveltal, on this roster, so they haven't swapped him back.
That's true.
So that is going to be like the one thing that's off the kind of quintessential starting lineup that we had been seeing from Chengdu for so very long. Cameraman goes on a little bit of a trek, but so he's going to be sticking through. I mean, played a solid Brigida throughout those 3 rounds of Busan, and Among, he did look very dominant on the Wrecking Ball. Was certainly looking, leaps and bounds more consistent than Marvel. He was able to stay alive. He's causing a lot more chaos. So he's still showing how very adept he is at that hero in particular. But as we get ready to move into Temple of Anubis, this is a map where you certainly want to be running the likes of Winston as well as Ball, so that added level of flexibility comes in with Gaga. So it's completely unsurprising to see this change coming in right now.
And I think I mentioned this before we head into map number 1 there on Busan as well, but the slightly good news here for the Chengdu Hunters is that they can dodge obviously bad maps for dive like Hanamura by going to somewhere like Temple of Anubis, which is, I think, out of the options. I mean, Volsky is the other option, so yeah, Temple is probably the go-to if you want to be playing some sort of ball composition or just Winston dive. You don't want to be forced into double shield. You don't want to be forced into, anything to do with a brawl composition at all. So that at least is going to be decent. I am curious to see what Jinmu's going to do here, because I was not impressed with the Sombra coming through on any of the rounds that he played for Busan there. Again, very slow EMPs. He had that flubbed EMP on Mecha Base as well that got cut off by a wall. Like, if you don't know, I mean, EMP is LOS dependent, so if you just hit most of it into a wall, that's just not going to be working out for your team. So that was another fight where, honestly, for Chengdu, they could have secured it there as well. So, I mean, you can go on a limb and say they had multiple fights where Chengdu probably could have just won Mecha Base, but it will be sold at the end of the day. Wasn't a fan of the fact that they put Prophet on Torb and then Fitz came out of Tracer. That was a bit weird, but they did win anyway, and they made it work.
I mean, it did take that final swap to the Soldier 76, but it was certainly looking a bit odd at the end there, I suppose, with the Torbjorn coming in. I was going to use another term, but it's too memey, and I don't want the chat to go all cringe on us, I was going to say it's a little sus.
Did you know that saying cringe is cringe?
It's true. It's very true. It's actually the cringest thing that you could possibly do. I know this because I've watched I've watched the NAL games as well as any other stream. It's kind of crazy how consistent chat is across just about any stream that you could watch that's online. It's a hive mind of dumb memes.
Every now and then, there might be one good meme, and you're going to hold out for that.
That's true. When you find that golden meme, but then the problem is they kill it so quickly. You get something really good, and then all of a sudden it's just like, you know what? It's after like 3 days, it's just become it's too much. You've overused it. You just got to be careful. You got to use it sparingly, like it's a natural resource.
Part of me understands a little bit more of Gaga coming in here. I do think he is definitely, fundamentally just a better Winston than Among. I think Among competes on the ball, but the other picks go to Gaga for sure. So you have this double bubble composition now. You have the fact that Lee is playing his Echo is pocketed by Yveltal, which is really important because Prophet does not have a pocket, but he does have fits on the Widowmaker in the challenge.
Leave. Getting up close and personal here. Would love to take Marvel a little bit lower so he can try to beam him down. The bubble comes out to protect him, has to pull back around the corner. Try to get that execution on a Prophet. This is finding quite a few shots as he does get up to 73%. And that damage being pushed out of the Gaga helps confirm the kill. And Amo getting that final blow. Back onto him, but he'll be fine. That expires. Leave down in a little bit of an awkward position, but they can't quite chase forward. Try to get rid of him. That pocket healing coming out of Yellowfall proving to be just a little bit too much. And in the meantime, this has opened up a good amount of opportunity for Gaga to get back over to the point for this next recontest. Fitz trying to line up a shot, doesn't manage to make it happen. Jinmu being left on in the back, will translocate away, and Monk snipes Prophet out of the sky. Pocket healing being not there for Prophet, comes back to bite them. Monk fights two with Bionade. Oh man, he's catching him downstairs, indoors here at the point, gets rid of both supports. The self-destruct going to be just trucked out over towards Fitz. He will pull back to safety. There's only a tick established here for the side of the Seoul Dynasty. Good recovery for the Chengdu Hunters.
Well, they get the tick because Chengdu have to give up that tick in terms of waiting for Gaga to return into favor. They couldn't get the res onto Gaga, died, I think, far too close up. Jimmy's had to back out of here as well after doing a bit of scouting. Was thinking about dropping a fat EMP on the opening doors. He's going to have to find a way to do that a little bit later. Maybe even bait to the Seoul Dynasty to come over towards the point. Possibly some more room as well. Marvel has himself a primal. Losing Monk here is really poor.
The EMP does come through though. Leave opening up some space. I'm not sure if it's off CD right now. It seems like it is not, because otherwise Yveltal certainly would have been able to jump on it. That's what he's known for. But either way, primal rage here from Gaga, just knocking around the members of the Seoul Dynasty, making sure they can't get out, making sure they can't get over to the point. Just trying to lock everybody in position. Marvel does fall low, but he will be able to survive. That's going to provide some extra ult charge over to Creative and Anama, who now swaps over onto the Mercy to try to match pocketing Prophet.
So generally speaking, I think Zarya's weaker on this map than the D.Va. Let's take a look at the replay first. This will be Monk's double kill on the Bionade first. He gets a couple of taps on Prophet. Clean 3-tap. Love to see that. No assistance required. Just a solo frag, and then boom. Here comes a Bionade in just a hot second. Into the small room. They're already on the low HP, and he'll get 3 final blows. Fitz has already opened up the leave in Yveltal. All right, we'll take that.
Hello, welcome back to the live view. Fitz finds 2. Jinmu barely escaped. Bionade's out on the Gaga, and the poison trap of all things will find the finish. And Amo's going to res Fitz back into the fray. Now they're firmly here on the point, and with under a minute remaining, this is certainly not the fastest cap that we've seen, but they do at least lock it in, gain some extra time to get ready to assault B.
What I can assume happened there was that Late Young's grab did not go well, because otherwise they probably would have won that fight. Somehow Fitz got a couple of kills there, and then one push too missly as well with the Venom Mine. You don't see that every single day. Chengdu Hunters, again, I'm not a huge fan of the Zarya, and the reason for that is because when the bubbles are gone and you've outplayed the bubble and Gaga no longer has the support from Zarya, it's just not working out well for you. What's what Prop can do on the Scoppy? Absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing. Yeah, it just gets destroyed by the sticky bombs. They will get leave, but he takes himself out at the same time. Namo is not going to be in a position to try to get the res, but Yveltal, of course, is. So Monk straight back into the fight. Primal Rage pop now by Marvel, trying to knock people around over in the side. Catacombs. Self-destruct out directly on top of Late Young's face, and he will get obliterated. But that's the only pick that they find. Leave with a dupe of his own. Does go in for the D.Va. EMP going to be used. Managed to find 3. Marvel to you and Anamo all going to be hacked. Former of which is going to be the first to fall. Leave self-destruct might not find any kills, but he goes straight back in, almost gets a second self-destruct, and will be able to follow up for an immediate kill on the Fitz with the sticky bombs. Tagged up, will pull back to safety, wait for some healing. Seoul Dynasty are staved off. They invest a hell of a lot, and they don't get anything on the point.
There's a decent amount responded to from the Chengdu Hunters as well in terms of investment. And the Nano as well onto Late Young. It's surprising that it goes on to Late Young. It was on about 70 charge, gets slipped by Creative, instantly blown up by 2U's mech there. And then of course we saw what happened with all the duplicates and the EMP. I think the EMP actually landed perfectly, and now this manual hack's just got to destroy Animo. That should be a reset.
Fitz is going for a bit of a back cap, does kill off Jinmu, but now has to play off the point and try to escape. Uses the recall, but everybody's trying to surround his exits, and yep, Gaga with a leap forward will manage to find that finish, and that's just going to be an extra stagger coming in. Jinmu's res back into the fight. You know, we were a little bit concerned when we saw the Fitz Tracer come through on the last map, and this is again one of those moments where you would love to have Prophet on this. Personally, I would rather see Fitz go for the McCree here.
Well, the problem is if you want to play your Echo, and you want to play specifically Echo Tracer, which is a fairly standard composition, unless you're Chengdu Hunters, you want to have the Jinmu Sombra instead. It's got to be Fitz. There's no one else. See if Prof can maybe take down Leader. He does. It's a beautiful kill.
Let's find it. See if the res can come in, and it does. Yamato always gets these. He's not protecting that corpse well enough. Gaga took a little bit of a nap in the back lines. Now rejoins. Leave will knock Profit out of his duplicate. Gaga zapping away. EMP is absolutely massive. Finds 5 members. Fitz is now anti. He's getting around the backside of the sarcophagus right here as Late Young will be put to bed. The rest of the Seoul Dynasty are just getting melted. They still have not gained a tick, and it's just about to be a minute left on the clock.
Yeah, that was definitely the fattest EMP that Jinmu's done all day. I said its performance on Busan wasn't great in terms of EMPs. That one was so good. I think the previous one was decent here as well. So, with the time remaining now, the good news for Souls, their ultimates are pretty good. They got the rally as well, which is going to really carry them through. Marvel managed to preserve the Primal Rage, which is also important for these overtime fights. There's just a duplicate so far. You really want to see Gaga also get a Primal Rage to extend. If Leave can copy Marvel and they get a double Primal, Chengdu can hold this point for a long time.
Yeah, it would be a big one. That or 2U. Either way, it's going to be enough to buy some space. Pulse Bomb does go out. Good stick, finds Monk, but can they protect this time, or can Yamato bring him back from the grave? Leave. Gonna use the duplicate.
Okay,
decide to go for the D.Va, but yet now Yamato is gonna be eliminated. Fitz finds that kill. Gaga popping the Primal Rage, gonna try to buy some space. Self-destruct is available. Leave lets that one go, throws it into the back though, over towards the archway, and it will not be able to find anything. Dynasty now in on the point. It's gonna be an OT finish, if a finish at all. Mana boost will expire. Marvel still holds on to a Primal. The self-destruct is there.
The Leaf's
try to clear
alive.
off this point. They jump back in, second tick is established, 81.7%. They had to get back onto the point. They managed to do so. The grab into the back, Gaga drops down, finds the supports, and Profit is gone as well. 2U now going to be Team Mech. The hack was there, so he can't use the self-destruct to try to buy some extra time. He will just be finished off, and the Dynasty on the back of a team kill will not be finishing on Temple of Anubis. They get held. 81.7% is as good as it gets.
Oh my goodness, that grab was actually pretty disgusting from Late Young. At first, I'm like, that's a very far away grab.
A risky
I'm not too
one,
sure
too.
if there's going to be anyone that can actually capitalize on top of that, but flying in is Gaga, leaping in from above and dropping down on both supports. I didn't even see that it was 2 supports caught in the grab. That's an instant fight win. If even killing 1 support, I mean, that's potentially enough. Killing both is definitely a deletion. So this is the double kill from Fitz we missed out on earlier. Just had to flank. He was also pocketed from Animo, at least for the first shot there, but very clean onto Yveltal to open up A, and so that was what ended up costing Chengdu Hunters, and not too sure where the grab from Late Young went, but it wasn't going to be good enough to win them that fight on A. B was a much better point here. Jinmu even finds a second EMP assault, which is quite impressive, and I gotta say, I may be changing my mind on the Fitz Tracer, because he actually kind of got some nasty picks on that last fight as well.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty good at the end. It was, you know, but up until that point, it was a
solo kill to
bit
Yveltal was. I quite enjoyed that.
That's true.
Don't need a question mark after Delicious to really think about the result of that one.
We'll see how they fare now on this defense.
Spoiler, Jinmu goes Farah. I promise you he goes Farah here.
I mean, maybe once they see the lineup, I mean, Fitz still have to show a major amount of respect.
They'll see the Rhine and it's like, all right, it's Farah time. Or I guess, I mean, Leave could just stay on the Echo. There's 2 options. I mean, Leave on Echo is also good.
Yeah, I think Jinmu, you know, probably.
They're doing it. They're doing it.
I thought maybe he was just going to stay on it and just try to hack Marvel, but here we go. Okay, Yveltal Jinmu taking to the skies. Monk swaps over to the Zenyatta. Gaga's back on the ball. The old Hangzhou Spark trying to drive them out into the open with the Dragon Strike, lock them down with a barrage. Marvel already chunked out to half HP with the help of the Discord Orb. Will knock Profit off of that high ground for the moment. Marvel tries to charge out, gets himself indoors. Trying to keep everybody protected. This is where things could become a little bit challenging for Jinmu, but not when he gets poops like that. Late Young is there to capitalize, manages to find an combo, but Fitz, in the meantime, off screen, gets rid of 2. Monk and Lead both taken out. He has to worry about Gaga, but that's enough damage for him to be healed through. So he'll be okay for now, and that will provide enough time for Namo to rejoin.
Leaf's actually on the water. What is that about? I think the Hanzo would have been a better choice here. Maybe they just want to contest Fitz at a bit of a longer range. Fitz is the only person, the only player on this team that can really stop Jinmu and Leave, and that's a pretty decent dive too. You might get demec'd.
Prophet does manage to find Jinmu before going into that ice block.
No res.
Crucial shot. Leave almost finding that kill. Good timing from Prophet to keep himself protected. Still not fully topped up though. So needs to be cautious. But I agree. I think the Hangzhou is just a much safer bet. A bit more mobile, can break down Marvel's shield more reliably with the Storm Arrows. Leave. He is, if nothing else, cracked out of his mind when it comes down to these DPS picks. So if he wants to go for it, I'm inclined to kind of believe him. Gaga, however, going to be solo frozen over on the point. They try to use the D-Matrix to peel for him. It's not going to be enough. Seems like Late Young is not going to be punished for playing that far forward. He does manage to move back, but this is a solid hold. Half the time now bled away, and they barely set foot on this point.
Jinmu hasn't done enough damage. It's taken him like over 2 minutes to get this barrage. They have to play mega safe over here because they just can't isolate enough angles to have Jinmu be in a safe place. And, you know, Leaves trying to put a bit more pressure on the Fitz, but how do you play around Marvel's shield? This is why I think having a Hangzhou play the off angles is far more better. So you have a situation now where maybe a D-Mech comes on in. This could now be a safe barrage opportunity with no Matrix available.
Yeah, the Deadeye used as well. Now that's going to be gone. The Baby D.Va out of the fight. Sound Barrier is going to be used. Transcendence is out. Barrage comes through. Manages to find Fitz. Creative answers back, making that a 2-for-1 exchange with the res. We'll go ahead and nullify everything as Yamato picks it up. Late Young is into the pack line. Wreaking havoc. Chunking out Marvel as best as he possibly can. They need to rotate over towards the point. Yeah, the cap is coming through. First tick nearly picked up. They step off for a moment. Now they will go ahead and net that for themselves as Jinmu continues to throw rocket after rocket in towards the members of the Dynasty. Yeah, window into the corner. A bit of an odd position, but Jinmu, he pushes up onto the high ground. It's a little bit too late from Chuyu to try to keep Anamo protected. He will fall. Now there's no supports in the fight. A Shatter and a Self-Destruct. The Blizzard nearly there. Will that be enough for the Dynasty to try to hold this? I think not. Because Marvel, he's got no HP to speak of. Monk will strike him down. Chuyu will just die. Hold on to the ultimate. And this will be the cap coming in. Similar time starts here for both of these teams as it's 35 seconds remaining when the cap comes in.
Yeah, but what is Seoul doing in the corner? Like, hello? What is your game plan there? You're going for a window in the corner. Your entire team, including Marvel, stuck indoors while the cap is going through. You need to be rotating through. Yeah, I get it. There's Jinmu at the front gates. There's Late Young there as well. You have a Shatter. He had a Shatter the whole time. Solo Shatter, Late Young. Try and break through. Go the other way. Put the shield up. Ignore Jinmu. Go towards the point. You have to fight that. You can't just window in the corner.
Yeah. If anything, do that on the low ground over by the points. Hug indoors. Shatter not going to find anything, but it's okay because Prophet gets the melee kill on a Monk and Fitz finds a nice headshot on the Jinmu. So, for the time, already going to be bought here. Just the cost of a single ult from Marvel, who can build that up very rapidly. Almost get Gaga on the exit, but won't find that extra little stagger.
So the issue here now, and I was going to bring this up a little bit earlier when we were looking at compositions, is while it's fun to see Jinmu on the Pharah, it doesn't scale well into B. I think he deleted his ultimate there as well. So if you actually look at the Leave Echo plus Jinmu's Sombra composition, which they could have also played, winning A, they get to then snowball into B safely and continue those ultimates. Now they have to delete their composition to go back to what they originally had, and they're way behind Seoul. So there's not a lot of time. It's also they need to fight, but they drain ultimates, and then probably an OT fight where they can.
Gaga tries to go in, drops the minefield, but instantly gets frozen. Marvel will scoop the kill, gets himself up beyond 50% of that next ult. Prophet trying to freeze Yamato on the exit, can't quite find it. Is going to be hacked. Good here for Creative, just pulls back safely. Ooh, Monk almost gets double tapped by Fitz. He's playing right up front here near the archway.
Really unfortunate fight with Gaga dying because you just didn't get any ultimates out. You need to be able to drain something like the Blizzard, which has come out now. Okay, that's a decent start. They can dodge the Blizzard fine.
Yeah, they got to get the support ult next. Keeps 2U alive. So just trying to buy time where they can. Monk's going to be forced into the Transcendence. He pops that right here, right now. Self-destruct now going up into the air. The sound barrier is out from the side of the Seoul Dynasty. The shields now start to expire. Creative keeps himself alive. Fitz playing on the right flank here by the Catacombs. He's ready to pop the Deadeye whenever necessary. All just tries to stay alive. Shatter comes in, and it's going to be huge. Manages to find 3, I do believe. Late Young going to be D-maxed. Does manage to finish off Fitz in that Pilot Diva form. Gaga, he's got no chance of escape. He will fall. Jinmu, literally 1 HP, gets out of there. This will just be a further hold now. A minute remaining on the clock. Big ultimates are online here for the side of the Chengdu Hunters, but is that going to be enough for them to get the finish?
So I saw Marvel there with the Shadow. I was thinking maybe a solo Shadow onto Gaga's ball would be pretty decent because it's hard to get a good Shadow versus the team that Chengdu have. I mean, look at their composition. Who are you meant to Shadow here? But Leave just runs up to him, and that ends up being a pretty clutch play from Marvel. I don't think Chengdu win that fight anyway, even if they didn't get shattered, but they were waiting for this fight. Now they train the ultimates mostly out of...
Yeah, but he's gone for a 1-minute swap with the Zarya when there's a Blizzard online for Prophet. I would think he would stick on the D.Va here. That being said, EMP does come in, Prophet gets caught by it, so maybe you don't need the D.Va. If you just go ahead and focus fire and they find the kill, so you're going to be demech. Marvel is eliminated. Rally armor out onto just about everyone. The DPS even profiting from it now. Creative dead, the Baby D.Va going to be gone. Prophet's the first one to respawn. Marvel's going to be coming back in. The first tick going to be lost. Can they hold it off is the question. Blizzard comes down and cuts Leap off. He's isolated in the corner, but Prophet is eliminated as it spits, and it seems like the Chengdu Hunters will be able to make it happen.
So, yeah, I mean, as I was saying there, I mean, what this really comes down to is the fact that when we got towards B, and I was talking about there being a poor scaling composition from the Pharah going over towards B, that the reset a bunch of ultimates. The real game plan there is they pretty much knew they have to go for a one and done in the OT because there was so many ultimates for Seoul. They have to do one fight, maybe two fights to drain ultimates from Seoul while building their own, and then hopefully that connects properly. So the EMP, I believe, did land on the Prophet, so that's the Blizzard gone. That's one thing. And to be honest with you, late young into the Zarya, there's a couple things here. Is that one, yeah, the D.Va can eat the Blizzard, but the bubbles save you from the Blizzard as well in terms of you can't get frozen. So that's going to be able to cleanse you from the Blizzard, get you out of action, or get you into safety. But beyond that as well, I think Late Young, this is just a comfort pick. This is what Late Young wants to play because Zarya is his hero. That's his main hero. That's his best hero. So when push comes to shove and he's like, I got one shot at this. Do I have a better chance to get a win on D.Va or Zarya on a comfort level? It's always going to be Zarya for Late Young.
Well, there you go. It works out. You know, I was very concerned for the Chengdu Hunters when I saw that swap come in. I thought, you know, that Blizzard maybe was going to find an immense amount of value, but it's good on Jinmu to make sure that the EMP connects the Prophet so he cannot use it. He cannot get into the ice block, and then he never gets a good, you know, opportunity to really maximize the value of that Blizzard. So very well played by the Chengdu Hunters. They win now on Temple of Anubis, which ties up our series 1-1. No 3 Overwatch here in our final series of this Shanghai homestand, and that is a great thing. The action is going to continue as we get ready to go into map number 3 in just a few minutes, so don't go anywhere, guys.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile. The Overwatch League is brought to you by Pringles. Stay in the game. And by NetApp, the official data management partner of the Overwatch League.
And we are back, and it's time to jump into our third map of the series. Nobody's at match point because we are tied up 1-1. That's right, the Chengdu Hunters, they close out Temple of Anubis against the Seoul Dynasty. Another, fairly down-to-the-wire map here, but they managed to get the win this time around. Great EMP from Jinmu, denies that Blizzard coming through from Prophet. They get the win, and now we look to Eichenwalde to see who is going to be moving forward, who is going to be getting the match point, or maybe we just have a draw.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure. Either way, we have more maps, and I'm excited about it.
It's actually a pretty neutral map, I think, for both sides here. We look at this, and it's got good areas for all types of compositions. Brawl is notably going to be very strong on C. I think that is where Seoul are going to get their win, if at all. So if we drag this out into a C defense, that's where I see Chengdu probably not gapping. Chengdu are going to need a lot of momentum between B and C, like a massive time bank. Even that might not be enough, or like an alt bank, most notably, for like a double cap to come on through. They just need a snowball. If that doesn't happen, they're going to get slowed down by Prophet's May into lots of walls, into the Blizzard, into the ice blocks. That Prophet May, I think, is going to be the biggest problem for Chengdu to get past on C. So that's where I see Seoul getting their win. A and B should be pretty comfortable for Chengdu. Now, depending on who attacks and defends first, that can really make a difference here, because if, for example, Chengdu actually defend first and they complete a hold on B, they give themselves, I would say, pretty much a guaranteed win. Well, not a guarantee, but an extremely strong chance to win this map, as opposed to letting this to get to C.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see, which side the teams have elected to be on. This is going to be the Dynasty's pick, given that they just lost on Temple of Anubis. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. So I mean, Dynasty feeling comfortable here. We'll just I'm curious to what they're going to be running, because I'm thinking back in my brain here to one of the last times that I can really recall Seoul Dynasty playing on this map. I forget who it was against. But I remember Prophet playing some Reaper, and they just didn't go really well. This was a while ago. This was definitely like at least last tournament. But yeah, I just remember in my brain right now, I'm connecting the dots. And I'm like, Seoul Dynasty,
better memory than me.
Prophet on Reaper, no bueno. They were just kind of getting hard farmed.
Honestly, I think King's Row could have been the best option for Seoul. Knowing Seoul's strengths and what they actually want to play.
I mean, for running Brawl.
Good for hit scan, good for running Brawl, good for running May. Outside of the A point, both B and C just played towards, I think, Dynasty's strength, so that to me would have been the clear choice. But Eichenwalde, like I said, is a little bit more neutral ground. Hollywood actually wouldn't have been too awful either, because you trust Fitz on the sniper. You probably trust Fitz on the sniper, especially to really dual Leave, who is... He's good enough. I wouldn't consider Leave to be elite on the sniper. But again, he's got a very wide hero pool. But the Widowmaker it's like a very good pick for him, but it's not like he's no Arns. Let's put it that way. To be fair, no one's really an Arns. So yeah, we'll see what happens here. There is an opportunity for the Fire, which does say to me that on the A defense from Seoul, they may want to consider not running a Brawl. They are, which means I think Jinmu's going to go straight for Fire, and he's already locked it in.
Alrighty, well. Green for Prophet, fits on the Sombra. See how this fares and what the likely change-ups are going to be for the Chengdu Hunters. We'll at least poke forward with the Widowmaker, try to go for the pop shot, get some scouting done. Or, okay, maybe not the Widowmaker shot, just go for the Sombra Scout instead with Jinmu taking to the skies. See how long they want to stick with this. We did briefly see this on Eichenwalde just yesterday versus the Valiant, but they only needed to take a single tick, so it was a very short-lived appearance of the Jinmu Pharah.
What you get out of Jinmu's Pharah here compared to a map like Temple of Anubis is he can instantly get a flank going. You can see he just goes behind the geometry. Yeah. Now he's behind Seoul Dynasty, and so this is two-pronged approach where Seoul have to take cover from Jinmu, but also deal with the rest. We'll get Gaga, speaking of dealing with.
Yeah, now Jinmu's going to be hacked, so he's on the ground. They're trying to keep him protected. Good D-Matrix there. Late Young coming in behind Prophet. Denies the shots from flying in, so they actually cannot get the kill on the Pharah. No further stagger. Still is under heavy fire, though, consistently getting chunked down to about half HP, but Yabutol's there, keeping him pocketed to the best of his ability. Leave now in the back.
Where's the hack? He needs to be looking for 2U or somebody. 2U or Marvel will be the prime targets.
Leaf falls low. Sliver of HP remaining for him. Needs to get top back up. Good Fire Strike comes through, but not going to lead to a kill. Either have that alley-oop combo with the shot coming in from Prophet as well. Fitz gets a hack here, but Monk almost just out-trades him just by left-clicking. Jinmu will fall. Yamato has the res. Nano now going to be used onto Jinmu as he comes back into the fray. Barrage going to be popped. Will find creative, but 2U presses forward, finds the kill. The rest of the team, however, on the side of the Dynasty start to fall apart. The cap is just coming in right now. They decide they're not going to recontest this. They just want to pull back. And it's going to be just shy of 5 minutes now in the time bank here for the Chengdu Hunters.
It was a great opening frag coming through from Prophet. I believe he just got Jinmu solo. You see Jinmu looking for the challenge on Prophet. Like, I could probably take this guy. Maybe in a 1v1, that Prophet gets a couple of nice shots. Fitz, I think, tries to duel Monk twice, but loses. Gets good farming, though, so the EMP is just there before leave. Who's going to pull the trigger first, though?
What?
I don't know how that happened. Okay.
Was he hacked? He must. I didn't quite see it on my screen whether or not he was hacked. I'm going to assume that he was, because otherwise it's very uncharacteristic for Gaga. But that's a major opening now for them to try to move up and gain control of this Portocolis. Good sleep dart does come in. Protection comes out. Oh, he gets canceled, and then Fitz comes in with an EMP of his own, manages to find 3. A huge play from Prophet, getting the shutdown with a flashbang, stopping him dead in his tracks.
I can't believe it. I can't believe I just saw that. Yuvalto's been flashed on the skies on Prophet's going nuts right now. And this is going to be the destruction of the Chengdu Fire Cup. They just can't get anything done. The EMP looked like it could have been so good. But somehow Prophet just spins around 180 flash. Now they got 5 ultimates on board. The only part that hasn't been working is Fitz has been shut down by Monk time and time again. Even though slept, he wasn't killed. And now Seoul Dynasty in a great position.
There's a slew of replays that I am hungry for right now. Jinmu going to be hacked again. Fitz in a great position. They collapse in the shatter. They pin him. The Nano Boost keeps him alive. He goes straight back into the skies. Now he has another barrage ready to roll. Sound barrier comes in, but it's too late to try to keep Prophet in the fight. Immortality Field gone. Creative and Marvel both getting dropped to the barrage, and it's a fantastic turnaround here by Jinmu and Go to go ahead and get this cart moving. It seemed like that was just going to be the kill coming in, and that, you know, they would be continue to be held over near the entrance to the street space, but no, they persevere. They push through.
I gotta say, again, Monk has just severely outplayed Fitz. Every single time Fitz wants to do anything, Monk has just laughed in the face and said no. You want to get a manual hack on a Jinmu into a shadow? No, it's not going to happen. We've got a Nano available. Sleep into creative now. Prophet's dead as well. This is a 6v5, and Seoul cannot even get out of the castle.
Yeah, it's proving rather difficult. You can see them shifting back and forth between the left and right doors, just trying to find a way to break through. Fire Strike actually does manage to clip onto him, but Marvel is still very far away from having that shatter available. Self-destruct chucked through the window, doesn't find anything in creative, will get dropped. Late Young coming up with that. Prophet well into the back line, not quite sure what was going on there. He does get taken out. EMP is going to be good, manages to find 3, but Late Young gets rid of Fitz on the back end, and it's only Yveltal as a casualty so far. Marvel now going to be collapsed upon. Minefield is there, so he doesn't have that much room to work with. See, they finish off the Immortality Field, and Gaga is there, crashes into him, finds the kill, and it's just 3 meters left to go to get that extra minute and a half bump up in the time bank, and it seems like they will have it as Anamo falls.
This is a very uncoordinated defense coming through from Seoul. Like, what's the game plan here? You're going for a 4v6 EMP. That's not going to work out for your main DPS, and Prophet's already gone. He goes to a solo flanking mission. If your goal was the EMP, Prophet can't go on a solo flanking mission. He needs to be with the team to capitalize on the EMP. So this is just a weird line of play comes from Seoul. Like, how does Creative die? Late Young's on an off angle, I get it, but you have an Immortality Field. Creative should not have died at the start of that fight. This is what I'm talking about in terms of the C point, though. Prophet on towards the May. Seoul have to hold here, and they got 3 minutes to do that.
And that's a major Bionade on a 4, but it might not matter. The Pharmacy comp is going to be eliminated. Leaf, however, will find creative. Makes it get a little bit more before he translocates out. For now, it will stabilize, but they have to be so very cautious. You can see Fitz, they're on the hunt. They know that Gaga is in behind them. They want to get this kill, but he's just so elusive. He comes crashing in. The wall is not going to be enough to stop him.
Oh, that tech. I'm gonna go back to the replay view and watch that when I learn that myself. That was pretty impressive, just flying over the top of everybody. This is a massive slowdown, though. There's no good ultimates coming online for Chengdu. They've had to swap most of the composition. 4 players in different heroes now. And they needed to basically have a snowball to see to even get anywhere. That's a missed shatter.
Yeah, it doesn't get anything. Minefield out. After shield pop by Gaga. Mortality Field going to get finished off. Gaga getting held up just a little bit there. Now taking a ton of damage. Nano Boost is going to be used on the Late Young. He will get stunned for a moment. He's pushing the corner. He's trying to get that elimination. He's trying to get that D-Mech on the 2U. He can't quite make it happen. Fitz zoning back as best as he can with the help of that Deadeye. Now it's going to be the Amp Matrix as he looks for a couple targets. Bit of spamming through the right clicks, trying to keep everybody alive. Seems like he will be able to do so. Fitz falling so very low, manages to stay alive, gets a kill on the Monk. Prophet as well, barely surviving, gets rid of Leave. Gonna save him off yet again. It's a minute and a half remaining, but look at the ults coming online for Chengdu. This is huge.
It is, but to capitalize on that, it's going to be difficult here as well, because you're in a sort of situation where it's hard to engage. Like, you have no solid front line. Late Young is your only front line, because Gaga's going to be prepping for some sort of flank into a slam. He's not going to be sitting in the front for the most part. Late Young is having to absorb most of the damage. Leaves dead, so that's a reset. No, they're going to go for it.
Yeah, still is going to be good. Managed to find 4. The minefield cuts up Fitz. 2U's going to lose out on the mech. Shatter still dropped in again. Marvel just doesn't find anything, and there's not even a shield that you realistically have to worry about. The grab is going to be used basically solo onto Prophet. Does manage to find the Baby D.Va as well, as 2U is desperately trying to pistol his way back in. Just is still so very far away. 20% left to go. Marvel rejoins now on the Wrecking Ball. 2U gets back into the mech, does have a self-destruct, but they have to play the card. It's 0.09 meters left to go. The Molten Core tries to buy some space. Self-destruct going to be used. Everybody hiding back behind these corridors.
Chengdu cap, yeah.
Will keep themselves alive. Remake is there for 2U, but there's just no way to try to keep them sustained. Even with the Amp Matrix healing coming through, it's not going to be good enough. The pile driver from Marvel doesn't find too much value, and it's all about a time buy. They're trying to drain the clock down to 0, but it just doesn't seem like they're going to be able to do it. Prophet recalls, blinks straight back into the fight. 7 seconds need to be bought. Creative rejoins on the Lucio, but as he dies, that will be it. The closeout comes in with 4.4 seconds remaining.
So a couple of things there. One is Jinmu actually fires off an EMP, a pretty sick one at that. It catches most of the players on the Soul side of things, but it's a 5v6. Leave is already dead. I'm surprised they went for that play, but they were super confident in Late Young especially to hold the line and deal the majority of the damage. A lot of this composition relies on Late Young pulling the weight for the team. Not Leave, not Jinmu, not Gaga. It's on Late Young because the nanos are going to Late Young. He needs to land big bubbles, get these grabs in there, have a lot of energy charge, and part of the reason why I think Prophet should have just stuck on the May is on this particular point, I mean, look how narrow it is. Wall completely shuts Late Young down. He's not on a DV, he can't just fly over it. Beyond that as well, Blizzard is super powerful. Yeah, I mean, okay, the bubbles can maybe save you for a little bit, but in terms of actually attacking the point and delaying, Blizzard is what's going to keep you in this game for way too long. There's not a lot of flanking that can happen on C point of Black and Wilder either, so we're looking at a very front-to-back gameplay from both ends. I think that Torb was... I mean, I can see the reasoning from Prophet in Soul. It's like Torb is good anti-die because Torb lives, and he has like a shotgun right-click, and he's kind of good in that response, but May would have just been a harder counter and much more difficult for Chengdu, I think, to navigate against.
Well, now over on onto the attack Dynasty. They need to just finish the map. You know, even if they finish in OT, they'll obviously get that minute bump up, given the finishing time for the Chengdu Hunters. It'd be basically even across the board between the two, but they don't want that. They don't want to settle for that. You know, they want to absolutely smash this map. This is their pick. Have to keep that in mind as we look to how they perform now.
And I think Chengdu just capping the entire map is already, you know, that's more than the expectation, at least from my point of view. I expected them to kind of not cap C, but they've done that. And with just a little bit of time left as well, Prophet getting Jinmu down. Okay, that's a good start for Soul.
Yeah, big pickoff. Fitz gets the stun onto Late Young for just a moment. He will fall, but Prophet just slides in, finds Yveltal. Leave, though. It's just a Tracer battle. It's about who can come out on top, who can find more kills. And right now, Leave is the one who's excelling. Moving around the flank, gets jumped on, has to pop the recall, still not fully topped up, so has to retreat back over to the spawn, and it seems like Leaf will be the dominant one, at least for now. 81% towards his pulse compared to 66.
And that's, you know, going up against one of the better Tracers historically as well, especially with Striker gone. The question of who the next best Tracer is always up for contention. Primarily, I thought it could have been someone like Prophet, but right now Leaf's doing such a good job with Stick as well.
Yeah, but to you, yeah, he noms that one up with the T-Matrix, but it's still going to be both supports gone for the side of the Seoul Dynasty. Fitz, however, gets rid of the tank line. Now Prophet comes in, finds Leave, and that's a major opening given the run backs here for the Dynasty to get in onto the point and try to get this cap coming through. At least will be 2 ticks. We'll see if Chengdu can fully commit in for the retake.
They just don't have the players. I don't think they're too far away here. It would have to be Gaga and Jinmu. think it's just a better
comes in.
Oh, they are going to go for this one. All right. And a trance as well. They're fully committing.
They're not even taking any damage right now, but Monk just comes strolling in with the Transcendence pop. That might come back to bite them in the end. We'll have to wait and see.
They need the grab.
Young is pretty close to the grab, and Jinmu almost has the EMP. That eye from Fitz tries to find a pick. Doesn't manage to make it happen. Stun comes in. Prophet loses the Pulse Bomb. Huge play there on the stun from Yveltal, but now Monk is lost in the fray. EMP comes out, gets rid of Creative to you. Hacked. Cannot use the self-destruct yet again. Anamo going to be eliminated, and they have actually managed to make this happen. 98% about there, accrued for the side of the Seoul Dynasty. But the Chengdu Hunters, they storm the point, they retake it.
I mean, that was a gambit coming through from Chengdu as well. You noted Monk came over with the Transcendence. No one's taking damage because it was just Monk trancing and Gaga who hadn't been hit yet. But what it actually does do is it disperses Seoul. So all of Seoul Dynasty, they over-respect the trance and they leave the point because they've just vacated this point. Chengdu storm back in. They get the position they want to and they go into EMP plus grab and they win that fight. And now we continue. There's 1 minute 20 left. Even if Seoul capped this, they've lost a lot of time.
Marvel. Rolling in, doesn't get hacked, still going to be okay for now. Transcendence is used. They keep Marvel topped up as everybody plays together for the moment. Prophet with a Pulse Bomb. See if he can find a pick. Bomb well into the back, will get rid of Gaga. There's a trade out on the Wrecking Balls thus far. Yveltal under a bit of fire. Get finished off, and Spitz finds that killing blow. He's trying to nail a shot on the lead, but he just cannot make it happen. Late Young is here to back him up. Get that finish. Whip shot sends Late Young off the side of the map, but then Leaf gets sort of creative. Now Anamo is gone yet again, and there's just Marvel left alive at the moment. 43 seconds left in the time bank. Yeah, they got the 2 ticks, but reminder, they need to finish this whole map.
And, dude, the strength of Seoul was going to be on C, but they're not even going to get there. They can't even get past A. 30 seconds, fresh Fits on towards the Sombra. No ultimates outside the Pulse, which got cancelled, by the way, previously from Prophet. Yveltal just shield bashes, and this EMP can shut the door. Jinmu, one good EMP gives him the 2-1.
Can they get the shutdown yet again? They might not have the McCree this time. They can't rely on Prophet. It would have to be Anamo getting a shield bash. So far, they haven't been able to spy check him at all. The EMP comes in, Creative has been hacked. They're keeping him alive for the moment, but then Late Young gets involved. They get the kill. Point is going to be contested. Leave is hacked. Cannot use this Pulse Bomb that he's holding for now, but he's not taking any damage, so he will have for the extended fight. If it even continues that long, he gets in on top of Anamo. He gets the kill. The Minefield finish off Prophet. Now Marvel is gone to you as a Baby Diva, and now that Baby Diva is dead. The OT will bleed away. It is a full hold by the Chengdu Hunters in reply, taking the Seoul Dynasty's map pick from them. They now move up 2-1 in this series.
Impressive. That's match point now as well. And off the back of a bit of a gamble coming through from the Chengdu Hunters, and it absolutely pays off. They've doubled up their earnings now. I mean, look at that play. Just diving in, Transcendence in hand into pretty much nothing. It's just Gaga and Monk and finding the grab into the EMP. And then Jinmu builds a second EMP, catches both supports. They kill Creative. They don't get Animo, who does manage to find a rally, but then leaves, just shuts it down. He puts the Pulse Bomb onto Animo and says, nope, that's going to be a cancelled rally. Fits on the last Sombra. I'm not too sure about that. I think he did so much better on the McCree. It seemed pretty desperate. It's almost like, we got a touch, so I go Sombra kind of thing, but I'm not even sure that's good justification. It just seems so strange that he would go Sombra right towards the end. Maybe they were that threatened by Gaga. He's thinking, I could get a hack onto Gaga, but that's just not a good enough win condition. They have to play against the EMP. They have to play against Leave, and I don't think Fitz on the Sombra was going to be good enough to do that.
Well, the Seoul Dynasty, they have one final map pick to try to make the difference here, to try to keep this series going and to be able to extend us into a fifth and final map. We'll see what they decide on for Escort, where they're going to be taking us, and whether or not it's going to be good enough, because Eichenwalde clearly was not. Chengdu Hunters looking utterly dominant. Another full hold from them here. Back-to-back. Yesterday versus the Valiant, now versus the Dynasty. Granted, this one significantly closer. But their match point, as you said, one more map, and they have punched their ticket to Hawaii. We'll see if they can close it out, or if the Dynasty can keep the series going when we come back from the break.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
Alrighty, we are back and jumping into potentially our final map of this series. Right now, Chengdu Hunters, they lead 2-1 after a closeout on Eichenwalde. A full hold, no less. So a very dominant showing over the Seoul Dynasty there. Now they're going to be looking to finish this off. They are in front of a full Chinese audience. They've got to be feeling jazzed up. We have to see where the Dynasty are going to be taking us, though, to try to keep their hopes alive.
I think Chengdu getting this win here, we're assuming, 3-1 is definitely on the boards now, especially with Escort being next. I don't think there's a good Escort option alive for Seoul, no matter where we go. Escort in general is very good for Chengdu and the comps that they run, especially with Ball. Brawl is just not going to be it, so Seoul are going to have to match the dive, and I think Seoul's dive has just been weaker. They can't play, they can play the Sombra, but they're really choosing not to. They're trying to counter the dive more than anything else, which I think, that's a valiant effort. I appreciate that. Unfortunately, teams that are trying to counter dive in the APAC side of things in the Eastern Division have suffered worse and gotten less success than teams that just master the dive and really excel at that. That's why Shanghai has completely slapped everybody. And now, as much as I spent all weekend calling Chengdu Shanghai light, I said to begin with, that's a compliment for Chengdu, because Shanghai is so good on that comp that Chengdu playing the same thing. And look, Chengdu played it first, and Shanghai copied them. But my point is, Chengdu, even being within the same conversation as Shanghai, means they're going to be the second team go to Hawaii and the second best team in APAC.
Yeah, just to nitpick, maybe we should stop using the phrase valiant effort, because I think it's kind of taken on a different meaning these days. It's a little bit inverse of what you...
I refuse to allow a team or any other meaning to infiltrate the original meaning. I think the original meaning is sacred. We had the person with a little tablet holding up a video of Leave or something like that. Was he eating or something? But Leave has been feasting today, isn't he? He is looking for a real clean win.
It's been so long.
It's hard.
I've been seeing the tablets out there in the audience.
Oh, yeah. It's hard not to just look at this player and just consider, he transcends Chengdu. I think of all Overwatch League, he's at the top. Right now, if you don't put Leave in your list of top players of any role in the Overwatch League, you haven't been paying attention. Every single match Leave plays, he shows up. I don't think he's had a single bad performance this year. His consistency is unreal. I can't believe I can't believe someone of this good is what we're witnessing.
There's definitely, I can't think of any specific examples, but I think there's definitely been, maybe once or twice in a series where he's had some, poor judgments, or he overextends and, gets picked off or whatever. But for the most part, I fully agree with you. Incredibly consistent, which is not what we can say so much for, Fitz and Profit right now in this series. Typically they are kind of our definition of consistency. Profit, at least, playoff Profit. That is a term for a reason, but we're not seeing that right now. They're having a very rough time of it. Leave is just out-dueling them. We saw at the very beginning of that attack on Eichenwalde, with Leave defending on the Tracers, just coming out on top, besting Profit at every twist and turn, getting that pulse bomb up earlier, getting more value. So, yeah, this guy is one of the best out there, and it's hard to rate many players above him right now. Fleta, Lip, they'd certainly come into the conversation. But trying to figure out what that top three looks like is, between those three players, who you rank above who, is extremely difficult.
And I think, adding Jinmu to the conversation as well, I don't think he played a very good Busan, which probably ended up being one of the reasons they did lose. We remember that kind of flubbed EMP and just slow EMP charges overall. I think he kind of brought it back. He's starting to really bring it back now. He's hitting some really fat EMPs. They're not lip timing. Again, he's not in the Formula 1 car of Sombras right now. He's, cruising around in just closed wheelers, and unfortunately not everyone gets to drive the fastest car. Not everyone has the fastest EMP charge, but he's landing some very impactful EMPs. His manual hacks have actually been pretty impressive. So he's doing enough. He doesn't need to be lip or Doha. He's doing enough to get them a full hold, to get an EMP when he's supposed to get one, and enough to put Chengdu in a 2-1 match point situation, where this game right now is getting more and more Chengdu favored as we go on, and I think this will be maybe the most favored of all, because we're going to an escort map where dive is king here, with a potential little bit of smidgen of double shield being the possibility, which maybe Seoul has to think about. But this is a great map for Chengdu.
Yeah, he's not Formula One, like you said. He's more of like he's like a city bus, you know? He's regularly scheduled. He gets you there when you expect him to get you there.
Bus. The city buses race.
Okay, city buses.
Schedule.
I'll say like a city bus in Seoul, because they're cleaner and you don't get crazy people on them like if you're in America or other places.
All right.
They're also, they don't smell nearly as bad. So he's like a really nice city bus. But let's see how they fare as we enter into the attack from the Chengdu Hunters here on Junkertown. Leave is going to be starting on the Widowmaker to match Fitz. See if Fitz can come up with some crazy picks like we saw him get on Temple of Anubis.
So actually it will be Chengdu coming out on the double shield here with the double sniper as well. So it's kind of old school Junkertown strats. Getting a lot of presence here. I mean, Marvel's just struggling to open up. He's gone deep here, but he might get punished. He's low!
Yep, and he is going to be eliminated. Just way too much of a commitment. Prophet had to dip the hell out of there very quickly, as he also had fallen down to about half HP. He gets on top of Leave. He does manage to find that elimination. And able to, of course, playing the Brigida right now. Will not be able to bring him back in, but it's not a very long run back here for the Widowmaker, obviously. Marvel straight back in, gets the pop up here on the late Young. They're trying to get this kill. The barrier comes out. Marvel will be able to confirm it at the end. Just need to top him back up. Try to get this rally, try to get this transcendence up. So far, decent little start.
That's kind of the problem for Chengdu, though, is they kind of lose, tempo on the point itself. They lose priority. Late Young's trying to get a little bit more push going, but that will end up being an overextension. He'll die, he'll reset. Lee will come back on a trace and match Prophet and maybe put a bit more pressure onto Marvel's ball. That is going to be, I think, the real area that Chengdu can really capitalize on, because Marvel, I think he's not had the best ball so far today.
Yeah.
See if he can improve on that, as Chengdu are looking for opportunity. Immortal Field has already been used.
Right ahead. Fitz getting that shot in right before the recall comes out, so Leaf does manage to stay alive. Prophet is hounding him, though. He's playing over towards the health pack. Leaf's just going to exit there. Tries to apply some pressure to Tuyu, who gets a very thick shield. Try to keep himself nice and safe. The accretion not going to connect. Pulse bomb thrown down. Immortality Field does get used. Prophet doesn't find that stick. Late Young up into the air. Back in the flux, and they will manage to find the finishing blow. Fitz with a headshot, cutting him down. Half the time now bled away, as the Chengdu Hunters try to pull back over towards the spawn and find some stability.
They were really hoping that window was going to get them across the line here. It's going to have to be this supercharger now. Young's been picked off a couple times now. You can see it was just slightly late in terms of the healing coming on through. So a nice hit shot from Fitz. Also, Monk had to use his Immortality Field to survive against Pulse Bomb. Rally into rally now. We need to see some more ultimates coming out of Chengdu.
Storm Arrow's not getting the hit that they were looking for, but it will still be the Dragon Strike about to be online. Anamo, as you say, does fall. Flux now comes through from Late Young. Picks up a couple. Creative will get dropped. Gaga eliminated. Now the Dragon Strike comes crashing through. So you're going to be finished off. The cart currently rolling back, but it will be able to advance forward here in just a moment. A couple quick taps do come in on the Late Young from Fitz as he tries to reposition for Prophet. He manages to find two. Hilton and Jinmu both going to be picked off by the Pulse Bomb. Gets rid of the Immortality Field, drops down, tries to find the finish here on the Monk. I was talking about the lack of playoffs Prophet, but maybe he has just arrived into server. Follows up onto Monk, and Jinmu is now going to be flipping over onto the Sombra to try to turn this around. 40 seconds remaining. Dynasty and Prophet, can they make this happen?
There's a big problem with what Chengdu were doing. They were overcommitting really hard to try and chase over towards B, but no one was capping. So even if you win that fight, which they kind of did in a soft manner, you have no payload presence. You are not capping. You can't actually extend that into an objective win. And all it takes is for Soul to regather, regroup, and Prophet has to get this pulse bomb in, and he does so. And then Soul rescued the situation. We're back to square one. We're back to the drawing board.
Yeah, and that stray shot was absolutely huge. They managed to find Jinmu. Good job by Creative, pulls him out of that stealth. Now they have the infrasight to constantly keep vision of him.
Okay, that's not the best.
For now. Prophet, he tries to get the supercharger, finishes himself off. If that costs them this point count, that is going to be major egg on the face of Prophet here. Leave jumping around, tries to get in behind the enemy team. Creative will find Gaga, but Creative will die. They collapse in, they're looking for Marvel. Pulse bomb thrown out into the corner, manages to find Tuyu. It's just an absolute bloodbath as the cart is not being contested. They win the fight. Very nicely done by the Seoul Dynasty. It would have only been Jinmu at that point, so definitely an unwinnable situation. Not a C9, don't do it, Chad. But a full hold comes in for the Seoul Dynasty. So far, this map pick of Junkertown is looking phenomenal. Chengdu Hunters, if they want to end the series right here, need to pull off a fuller hold. And that is looking like a near impossible task.
Part of me feels like Chengdu Hunters forgot what horse they rode on to get here because they are really wanting to play this double shield. Take a look at this pulse bomb stick again. Might be somebody running into somebody else.
No,
they just walked into each other. Bit unfortunate.
I thought it was going to be, either the shield bash or it was going to be the Hangzhou leap into each other, but no, they're just next to each other.
So what it comes down to for me is if Chengdu, in theory, just played ball and just defended, or they're going to have to defend now with it, but offensively played ball, played their standard composition, stick to what they're good at, and just play dive versus Seoul, maybe, Leave can snipe versus Fitz, or forget about that, just play Sombra Tracer, and who's Fitz going to snipe? He can maybe get a shot onto the Yveltal or Monk, and that's probably about it. Put Lei onto a D.Va. This comp, exactly what Chengdu are playing now, is what I think they should attack with. But they wanted to go for the double shield, but you could also see there was a bit of a mixture of ideas in terms of how they want to play, because they want to get super aggro on the double shield. So you see them running into B with this double shield before they even capped A, and it's like, if you're playing a dive composition, I get it, because now you can go back to the point, maybe somebody's already capping, but it just seemed like they wanted to play dive, but they were stuck on a different composition that they shouldn't have been playing. It's not because it's bad, because it's not their style.
Yeah. He's going to swap. Okay, they're going to go for the Torbjorn again. I don't know how I feel about this. It's been a little lackluster thus far in the series, the few times that he has played it. Gaga trying to push everybody out of that immortality field. He does so, but it cost him his own life. And there's nobody else to follow up to try to finish off the low HP members that were there from the Seoul Dynasty, so they will go ahead and survive for now. Still going to get the pseudo-pirate ship rolling.
They're in the open now, so this is actually the contentious part. It's fine for Seoul to get this amount of distance, but once the card is in the open, that's when Chengdu have all the map to play in, all the angles start opening, and with Marvel's shield, I mean, you can only look at so much, and things already start to fall apart.
Yeah, Creative and Fitz split away from the card, and they just get hounded down. The dive comes through from the Chengdu Hunters. Get those eliminations, and it's just that much more difficult now to regain control of this card. Prophet's going to fall as Leaf gets in on top of him. The turret to finish off. Pursue forward, so to build up these ults and see just how long they believe in this Torbjorn pick.
I'll be honest,
at least for a single ult.
Turret's got good value because no one shuts down a turret except for Monk. I mean, Leave and Jinmu don't want to do it. Gaga would prefer to not go for the turret either, and everybody gets shot by the turret, so that's high value. If nothing else, it's turret MVP today. I think this is better than May, at least for this point, so there's that. Honestly, I think Tracer probably even better option. This Molten Core, I don't see it being super useful. We'll see what Prophet does with it.
I mean, maybe if they can get like a major ult together on it, it could be huge. EMP is going to be used, manages to catch both the tanks, but Creative stays out to safety. Does get that immortality field down, but Fitz is still going to be picked by the pulse bomb. The minefield finishes off Marvel. This is going to have to be a reset now, so the Molten Core not going to be finding too much value. Prophet, however, will get up close and personal with Leave as he goes dashing forward, but that's the only pick he's able to find, and we'll see if this is going to be the wholesale swap coming through here, at least for the DPS.
This is rough for Seoul because it's not like they just have the option of going ball again. I mean, literally they could, but it'll be Marvel Ball versus Gaga Ball. He's got the Supercharger online soon. The Supercharger, I think, is going to get taken down pretty quickly here when Leave and Jim are on the hard flanks. There's no EMP, so that's good news coming through from Seoul Dynasty. And better news still is that they have ultimates, and currently Chengdu do not.
You to work with. Good push away there right to you. Denies Gaga that pile driver, which would have been absolutely enormous. Fitz now does find Monk. Good kill, eliminating a ton of the healing now. Further denying and delaying that Transcendence from coming online. Late Young gets broken out of the mech. He's going to pop the self-destruct just to get back in. To you, gets rid of Leave. Cart now advances forward. It doesn't have much further to go for this victory to come in for Seoul to punch their ticket into a map 5. Jinmu moving forward. Doesn't want to have to be the one to contest. Pops out of stealth. Is still going to be low HP, and Gaga is dead. Jinmu translocates away.
Oh, that's a big
comes out from Prophet. Yeah, just trying to zone them back off the cart. Late Young going to be demech. Leave eliminated as Prophet finds the headshot. Fits up on the high ground. Gets rid of Yellow Doll, and Jinmu will burn to death. He'll clear some space here with the self-destruct, and there's just nothing that Gaga can do to try to keep it contested. The Dynasty, they pull off the full hold, they get the push going through, and now they take us into a map 5.
Well played. I mean, right towards the end there as well. I mean, Fitz just landing a ton of shots. The Molten Core at the final precipice is what's going to really give you the maximum value. Anywhere else, the Molten Core is, the map's just too open, like where you're supposed to put the lava. But right at the end, where you know Chengdu have to contest, that is a perfect place for a Molten Core to actually get maximum value. Beyond that as well, the Supercharger did so much work. I mean, Marvel drops it down to the high ground, and they start stacking together. And you see Chengdu's game plan there. I maybe thought that Late Young self-destruct could potentially target the Supercharger, and that to me was maybe even a worthwhile ult trade, but they don't get the Supercharger down, and the Supercharger value across your entire team, boosting everyone's damage up by a considerable amount, that's going to be a team fight winner, and Chengdu just couldn't quite hold on. Jinmu desperately needed another EMP, but by the time he got one, his team was just dead. He needed an EMP. The same fight that Marvel had a Supercharger. If an EMP was down, they cancel the Supercharger, they break all the shields, they can win that fight, and that would have just been a fuller hold. But well done to Seoul, because they cleaned it up big time. I think Chengdu's attack was pretty lackluster on their double shield. Not a fan of Late Young on towards the segment either. I think they should have just played the dive again. And then Seoul, all they need to do is grind through, protect the Supercharger, get the cap, and suddenly we're into map 5.
Well, here we go. Map 5 going to be coming up. This is the Chengdu Hunters pick to try to close it out, to try to punch the ticket here to the Summer Showdown. Seoul Dynasty, they're going to be doing their damnedest to try to pull this off. It's not quite a reverse sweep. Obviously, they won the first map, but they're running it back. We'll see if they can clinch it or if the Chengdu Hunters will be able to win this map 5 in front of a Chinese audience. We're going to find out in just a few minutes when we come back from map number 5. We'll find out what it's going to be then. So don't go anywhere, guys. The action continues.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
Well. Here we go, guys. Map 5 here to determine who is going to be going into the Summer Showdown. Dynasty, they bring it back on Junkertown in a major way. They get the full hold. They get to push through. Chengdu Hunters, it seemed like they were going to have this in the bag. I mean, we're talking about it. What escort map do they go to try to get the win? Well, turns out Junkertown works damn well for them. They get the victory. Profit, he clapped back in a major way. Got Tracer Nift, I would say, on Eichenwalde, but then coming into Junkertown, on that defense was just an absolute monster and was just tearing people apart left, right, and center. Now one final map separates the Dynasty from moving forward, as, you know, same with the Chengdu Hunters, into that Summer Showdown. It's going to be Nepal.
Nepal is actually going to be the best Brawl control map.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether that's something Seoul want to lean into heavier. This is a Chengdu pick, though. It is a Chengdu pick, isn't it? It is. Oh, there's Village. I think Village is going to be... Okay, there's a lot of capability for Fire to be played. Fire, Village is a known thing.
Shrine.
Shrine is not so good for Fire, but I think... Well, it's reasonable. But I don't think Fire is going to be the gameplay. I think Fitz has been too consistent on the McCree now that Fire is too dangerous. And we've seen too many times where both Fitz and Profit, no matter who's playing the McCree, has actually shut down Jinmu on the Fire. And Jinmu's Fire, even on Eichenwalde, was fairly slow, even slower on Temple of Anubis, where it took him a long time to get a barrage. So I don't think that's going to be a big win condition here. I think for Chengdu, they're going to need more Tracer Sombra and ride that home because, like I said earlier, in terms of looking at Junkertown, that's the comp I expect them to play more of. And the attack was nearly there. If it wasn't for the Soul Clutch with Profit in particular, but also with Hunters, I think, overextending, maybe it could have been a cap. Who knows what happens on B. For Chengdu, though, bit of a learning experience there. Double Shield just is probably not their comp. Whenever I see Chengdu play anything other than their ball dive, it does not seem good for them.
Well, here we go. Nepal separating these two teams. Who will come out on top? I mean, our first round of Control on Busan, it was such a close victory. If you tuned in late and you missed that map, you may have to go back and watch it because it was an absolute nail-biter. Extremely close rounds, almost 99 to 100, and every single one aside from the first round. Do we get that again? Do we get all 3 rounds of Nepal? Do we see Village and Sanctum as well? Yeah. We are starting on Shrine.
And Late Young looks like he's starting on Zarya as well. I have some concerns about this. Yveltal's going to go Briggs. I don't think there's going to be a lot of healing for Late Young. There's not a lot of support for Late Young. And Zarya, to me, is, okay, you get to put one bubble onto your ball that gives you a good engage, but otherwise you're not absorbing damage from Profit. You don't have the defense matrix versus Fitz. Fitz is Dynamite. It's going to do mega damage here. I'm going to be paying attention to that specifically stat-wise, but I expect Fitz in this matchup to really pound.
Yeah, I mean, because both of these supports are going to have to play together. You know, everybody else on the side of the Chengdu Hunters is going to be fairly well spread, given that you have this Sombra, this Tracer, this Wrecking Ball. But Late Young, he's going to have to play near the support, so that's at least 3 targets you can try to get the Dynamite on. Dynamite not necessarily worth bubbling, because it's not going to give you too much charge. Marvel, however, well, he's just going to die. And leave is 50% to a Pulse Bomb, so maybe it won't matter. Fitz will find Monk. Then falls. Leave is into the back line, tries to find Fitz. Pops the recall to stay alive. Gaga and Leave get in on top of Creative. An absolute bloodbath. The Chengdu Hunters do start things off with the lockdown at the point. Pushing forward is 2U, and he's actually not going to be deep neck. He manages to find Yveltal, and Jinmu dies, so maybe we just see a fast flip, and that's exactly what we're going to get. The Seoul Dynasty, they take control. Only 12% built up for the Chengdu Hunters.
And that's with Leave going down, so Fitz nails the perfect shot there. Fitz doesn't die. As I said, Seoul, the most important member to look at here is going to be Fitz. If there's going to be a diff found in terms of beneficial for Seoul, it's going to come from Fitz today. Maybe Profit, but I think Leave's been playing the better Tracer today. He's got almost double the ult charge of Profit as well, so he's really flying ahead. Marvel's been hacked out. If there's one area of weakness for Seoul, it's got to be Marvel versus Gaga.
Ooh. Jinmu almost picked off down to 14 HP before he snaps back with that translocator. Minefield occupies the top of the point right now. You see them pushing through. The Pulse Bomb does not get a connection, does not find too much damage. Profit still going to be finished off. Jinmu finds the kill, gets himself the hell out of there. Almost has the EMP up, which they really need at the moment. Monk is going to just be pounded as Marvel goes in with that pile driver. Gets that kill. Rally is rolling from Yveltal now. Is that going to be enough? Late Young Gets focus fired, gets taken low. Gaga now going to be eliminated as well, and this rally is just not it for Yevotol. It does not find the value that is so desperately needed. Marvel finishes off 2 more members. The Seoul Dynasty look extremely strong so far.
Chengdu are not going to win if they cannot deal with Fitz. He is on 0 deaths right now. He's been pocketed so extremely well. He's untouchable. You see Amon going in for the slam. Not Amon, Gaga going in for the slam. He's got some good damage on there, but Seoul Dynasty will just be at the protection. Fitz doesn't die. He's by far dealing the most damage across the board for all 12 players. Fitz is the most dangerous member, and he needs to go down if Chengdu wants any chance.
EMP does find both supports in the back line. Creative, they try to keep it protected, but they do manage to get the damage again around the defense matrix. Finish him off. Yevotol does get traded out. The Transcendence is used by Monk. Self-destruct now, going to be thrown out onto the point. Zones them back for the time being as Marvel goes in deep. Helps find the kill on the Monk, I do believe, but then it will cost him his life. Let Young comes up with 2. Finding Prophet on the back end. It seems like the Hunters should be able to get this flip, barring an incredible turnaround here.
Leaves down.
Now Creative going to be gone. The self-destruct will be used by Late Young to try to get back into the mech. Minefield is down from Gaga as well. He rolls out, picks up a Mega Pack. Marvel comes back into the fight to try to keep things contested. Yevotol going to get taken out now. 2U traded. OT starting to bleed away. Prophet gets himself into the back line, receives the Discord orb, but he's still trying to find the finishing blow. Cannot quite make it happen, but the supports are getting chipped away, and the Dynamite defense is going to be big. Gets that kill. Now Jinmu gone. Lead falling low. The bomb finishes him off. And it's going to be the most one-sided round of control that we've had so far in the series. 100% to 12. As the Seoul Dynasty kick things off with a win on Shrine. You can see Prophet, the big grand rocket back and forth as he is feeling it.
I'll tell you who's feeling it right now. I will reiterate this point one more time, and people need to pay attention. This is really important now. There is one player that is still on 0 deaths who is doing 38% of his entire team's damage, who has got more than double the DPS done of the next highest damage dealer in the entire game. Yes,
Anamo.
it's Fitz.
Oh.
Yes, it's Anamo on Brigade. No, it's Fitz, who was sitting between 12 to 15k damage per 10 that entire submap. You know what the other 3 DPSs were on? 5 to 6k. He was doing 3 times the amount of damage as every other DPS. He was doing as much as all the other 3 DPSs combined. Fitz has to go down when he's playing this Ashe, or Chengdu will not win.
Jinmu now going over to Old Faithful here. Has the bar out. He's trying to weave these rockets in. Prophet hacked. Big anti goes in once on the 4 members. Immortality field has to be used. They stabilize for now. Prophet's still low, but they top him back up. Turret's being cleared out. Taking that away from the Symmetra. Another Bionade gets 3. This time Creative. He doesn't have the Immortality field. He's got no way to stay alive. Jinmu finds Fitz. The Young will be demexed, frozen. Find that finishing blow quite yet, but 2U pushes forward and gets it. Marvel goes down.
Another Bionade.
And despite the early lockdown here on the point from the Dynasty, this flip will come through.
Fitz has to swap here. Yep, McCree it is. You cannot be playing Symmetra. Why play Symmetra here? Okay, you teleport to the point, and then what? You get blown up by Jinmu's Farah. The only reason you should be playing the Symmetra is if you're expecting Chengdu to mirror you on the brawl. Chengdu are not going to mirror you on the brawl. You must come out on towards something like a McCree. Main McCree works, Tracer McCree works as well. Farah, in terms of Jinmu, does have a barrage, and the Immortality field's gone.
Yeah, the flip was getting ready to come through, but the Mirage is just going to stop all the hopes and dreams of that ever happening. Yevotol will get died to a fire strike at the back end, but Jinmu with a 3K shuts down the approach from the Dynasty. It's time to go again.
They need to answer Jinmu now. All right, this is where Jinmu takes control. By the way, 21k damage per 10 out of Jinmu, just off that rocket barrage. It's just all the damage coming on through. He's peaking. He's actually caught up to Fitz now, just in this like 40% cap. Just what just Fire can do. Just Fire things, by the way. Just when you don't shoot Fire, you have a Sim instead of McCree. You just let Jinmu run wild. They have ultimates now. Marvel's got no one to shatter here, so again, I'm expecting maybe a solo shout out to Gaga. Created with the window. Who are they targeting, though?
They're pushed away from it immediately. Now they have to try to play back in for it. Amo falling low, is getting jumped on the D-Matrix, keeps him protected for a little bit longer. The reload comes in. You can see that they're hungry for it, and Jinmu will find the kill. Monk traded out, so support for support at the moment. Still, they're not really any closer to stepping onto the point because the res is there from Yevotol. Pile Driver not going to find anything. The shield remains raised by Marvel, but they do get hit by that Bionade. So anti out on the 2 as Prophet waits to respawn.
Dude, there's been anti after anti. In that first fight, Monk threw 3 antis in a row. Every single cooldown of the Bionade was a successful land. If he keeps getting these, this is going to go one way. Chengdu only. EMP ready now. A lot of ultimates on board. Animo has to dodge the EMP. He does.
Yeah, he does. He gets the sound barrier off. EMP is still going to be huge, and Lei Young comes up with 3 with the self-destruct. Absolutely monstrous. Fitz can only reply with a kill onto Yamato, and that is not going to be good enough. He will find a second, but they trade blows. Fitz and Jinmu both going down. And I talked about the most dominant round of control that we had in the last one. Here we go. Bested. 100 to 17% now as Chengdu Hunters will take us to Sanctum.
Oh my goodness. I don't even know what to expect anymore. I can tell you right now, dude, Seoul, okay, what did they run through? Surely it must be Ashes go to here, McCree's okay, Prophet should be playing a Tracer. I think they can mostly repeat their entire composition again, but with Tracer and McCree instead. Let's see what Lei Young did with his bomb. He just kind of throws it in there. Do you know what? Cool guys don't look at explosions, and Lei Young just turns around and he says, I know this one's going to be banging. How about a 3-pointer? Knock that one in as the shot clock times out. Seoul Dynasty looking over towards double shield here. This is do or die, guys. Winner of this submap is going to Hawaii. The losers eliminated. Seoul have never qualified to a tournament so far this year. Chengdu went to Melee, and either team has the capability now of going to the Summer Showdown.
Still sticking with Afara, working a treat on the last round. Let's see how he fares indoors. Tries to get the concussive blast to send 2U down into the pit, but just barely clips onto the corner of this pillar. Still just letting the rockets rain down. The barrier's not finding too much. Blast
Prophet's on the wrong
Prophet
here.
over onto the point.
Bionade.
Looking for Prophet now. Bionade does find 2. Immortality field is already out. Fitz getting topped back up. Gaga falling low. There's the kill. Fitz has the final blow. I believe is just trying to build up for this EMP. Hasn't managed to make it happen yet. Dynasty to get the first lockdown to the point yet again. They press forward and look to try to hold them here at the main entrance. Well, they will just go ahead and pull back, showing some respect, but now they have to rescue 2U.
Dude, okay, they are being farmed by Jinmu's damage right now. He's still on 17k per 10 currently. Prophet, I think, is on the wrong hero. May is reasonable here. There's some good, angles for the wall to come on through, but honestly, it just doesn't have enough pressure. You've frozen Gaga, but they can't even get the kill. Gaga it's frozen a second time. Okay, that time
they managed to get him there, but now the barrage comes into the back line. Jinmu does get focus fired. They managed to finish him off before any significant damage can be dealt, but it's still going to be Fitz out of the fight. So DPS for DPS, and Yamato cannot get in there to try to find the res. Maybe he can bring Monk back into the fray, but so far we're not seeing it. There's a hack on the Prophet. He's looking for Leave, trying to keep track of him. Can't quite hound him down. For now, the Dynasty do retain control, but Leave is going to have this EMP up, and there's very few tools to try to counteract it.
Retaking with the fire is going to be really interesting as well, so trying to establish a bit of an off angle right now. Nearly gets a double tap on a Prophet. That would have been huge. Already been ice block. Prophet's used most of his utility. Now he's dead.
Yeah, that's all of it. Now the EMP comes in, manages to find 3. There's a Bionade out onto 2. 2U and Fitz both trying to stay alive. Immortality field buys a little bit of extra time for Anama, who barely holds on by a thread. Marvel gone. Their presence on the point is severely limited. The Deadeye is going to be used. Doesn't find too much. Just going to be nommed up by that D-Matrix. The flip has come in. 67% on the board now. It's the Dynasty who have to retake.
The Dynasty have so many ultimates. You have the Flux as well. It's going to be a really easy retake if you land that Flux. Plus, you have the Supercharge, which was so hard for Chengdu to deal with early. They have to kill the Supercharger. There are so many great tools. The only way Seoul don't get this retake is if Jinmu pulls out magic again. Maybe a boot kill. Maybe just a barrage will do it.
Minefield and the self-destruct go through, but the May wall deny the majority of that away. Barrage now online. Jinmu gets ready on top of him. Fitz gonna fall. Gaga finds the kill. Blizzard used by Prophet. Jinmu nanoed up. The pile driver comes in, knocks him up into the air. And Jinmu's just pumping damage out right now. Prophet will get finished off. Jinmu finds the second one. Anamo gonna be taken down. Creative utilizing the window, manages to find one. Now gets jumped on, and he almost goes off the side of the map. Leave is going to be there to capitalize.
This is close.
They still do find the kill. Jinmu is going to be res. Yamato not going to get punished. 2U is going to be dead. I think they're just about everything at this point other than the Supercharger. But the Dynasty, they do not get the flip.
And Gaga's alive. He didn't even get punished. He doesn't even die. EMP's available now. I mean, Jinmu had his rocket barrage cancelled either through accretion or Fitz's flashbang. So that doesn't work out for them. He dies barely, but he gets 2 frags as he goes down, and then the res comes on through. Now we equalize 67 and 67 with an EMP. That massive ult advantage for Seoul Dynasty, it's gone, disappeared.
Prophet, so very low, wants to grab that health pack. They come to his rescue as the Deadeye Comes out from Vince, and not going to manage to find anything. Immortality Field gets finished off, and Marvel gets cut up by the minefield. Rocket's coming in, he's looking for the finish on a creative, is just leaping around like a madman, but he will fall to near team kill here, as Marvel's the only one left alive. And Marvel's going to be swapping over to the ball now, but look at this, if they have to push into a Mirage, and there's going to be a nano boost to help keep Jinmu alive.
Oh god, it's going to be the Lucian Warrior. This is going to be the final fight. Seoul are going to throw everything at the wall and see what sticks here. This is do or die now. Prophet is the only one that's near an ultimate.
He manages to get the touch. He extends this out into overtime. Jinmu under a bit of fire. Pops the barrage, but everybody moves away. Marvel going to be tearing back inside. Barely keeps himself alive, but then he will fall on the back end. Jinmu's still going to be nanoed up. Does get eliminated by Tuyu. Prophet is alive. He's got that pulse bomb, but Tuyu's going to be demech, and Jinmu is right back into the fray as Yamato finds the miracle res. Tuyu eliminated. Prophet anti. He is dead, and I think they finally made it happen. The OT will bleed away, and the Chengdu Hunters, they have defeated the Seoul Dynasty. They have stopped them from taking this series out from beneath them. They have victory in front of a Chinese audience. Vindication for the Hunters, and yet another appearance in a tournament as they punch their ticket into the Summer Showdown.
You can see a Chengdu fan tearing up in the bottom left corner of the screen there as well. That is exactly the jubilation. It's tears of joy coming through from the Chinese fan base, from the Chengdu fan base here as well. That was a nail biter. You look at the shrine, so one-sided. Fitz completely demolished the Chengdu Hunters, but it's Jinmu on the Farah who comes out. And a bit of hubris as well, maybe a bit of misread from Seoul. They did not respect the Farah. Why would you ever roll out in Symmetra? That was such a poor choice of composition. And they got completely rolled on their first point on Village, and they got snowballed by Chengdu. We look at what then happens as we head over to Sanctum as well. Jinmu continues to farm, ends with 17.8k damage per 10, 16,000 damage done overall, 5k above Fitz, despite Fitz starting out so strong on that first map. And for the second time now in 2021, Chengdu Hunters will go to a tournament.
Just magnificently done. I mean, you can see the team staff storming out from the back to give hugs and congratulations to the players that made it happen. An incredible group effort by everybody here on the Chengdu Hunters, and so very well fought by both sides. I mean, you do have to give credit to Seoul Dynasty. It seemed like this, could have just ended up being a 3-0. They barely clinch out the map of Busan. Seems like, okay, maybe it's going to be a 3-1. They take us all the way to this Game 5. They make it all the way into a 5th and final round, and it's the closest one out of the 3, but they just don't get it done. Chengdu Hunters are the better team on the day, and now we have to, now we get to look forward to their performance in the Summer Showdown and see if they can help bring home the victory yet again for the APAC region.
Yeah, I mean, Chengdu came in firing on all cylinders here, and at the helm, I mean, the one player that you have to constantly go back towards is, of course, going to be Leave. Player of the match today. Leave had a phenomenal performance. I got to give a big quick shout out as well. Honorable mention to me desperately goes to Monk, especially for his performance on Village. They had tripped just Bionet after Bionet. So many good sleep darts as well on the poll. But overall, if you look at all 5 maps, the one player that showed up every single map didn't have a single poor performance. It's got to be Leave. Yeah, okay, his Widowmaker didn't really do much on Temple of Anubis, but we'll forget about that one part, because really it's the Tracer and the Soma we're talking about here. And yes, Jinmu really popped off in the last map, but he was quite slow on Busan and on some of the other maps as well. Seoul, I gotta say, really dragged this one out to map 5, and I started to believe Seoul has played such a good chunk of town, but I also think Chengdu misplayed their own comp. But at the end of the day, to have somebody outperform Prophet on the Tracer sounds crazy to me, because Prophet to me has been consistently one of the best Tracers outside of Striker for the longest time. And even now we're seeing some Leave Widowmaker headshots. It's not like he didn't do anything on there, but Leave on this Tracer was so phenomenally good. So many good pulse bomb sticks, such good damage overall, and his threat was so high. Every single map, Leave really did his job well.
Yeah, extremely well done from him throughout the entire series. I mean, one other time I suppose we could say he was a little bit slacking. I mean, it wasn't even him slacking, it was just Prophet just popping off, was on Chunkertown. But like you said, there was also, compositional issues there as well. The Hunters were not running, necessarily the most viable comp that would have, helped get them the win. But an incredible performance from Leave, as we have come to expect from this guy on the Tracer. 26k damage done, 11 pulse bombs kills, with 8 of those being attached. It's just a wonderful performance from him the whole way through the series. So a very clear-cut player of the match.
I'll clear up one thing though. I don't think the double shield isn't viable. It's certainly viable, but I don't think it's good for Chengdu. It's not one of their good comps. They're stylistically not
high performers on that. I think Chengdu are the type of team that must be playing something like the dive composition. As you know, now that we head into the game break presented by Cheese at Grooves here. Crunch time is going to be looking forward in terms of what we can really expect out of Chengdu, maybe Shanghai as well, because they play such similar compositions. It will be the quintessential Eastern Division APAC game style of the ball dive versus NA Symmetra Brawl or just regular Brawl, but most likely with the Sim. But then you also have to consider the fact that there's some potential for a dive coming out of NA as well, and some other stuff they're playing with double shields. Chengdu, specifically, I think more so than Shanghai, have a very key strength, and the other comps are not up to scratch. And that got proven when we saw the fact that even Valiant nearly won a sub-map versus Chengdu when it was Brawl mirrored. You have the fact that double shield coming through from Chengdu got them full held on Junkertown on a map that I had probably favored them to win if it wasn't for the fact that they played a comp that I don't think is good for them. So that's the one major weakness, and I think if NA teams take anything away from this, is that if you force maps that are bad for ball dive, and this applies to Shanghai as well, that's one way you can take down Chengdu. I think Chengdu and Shanghai are going to be far too good. So there is another question, which is to say that if ball dive becomes the predominant meta in the actual Summer Showdown as well between the 4 best teams, and that ends up being like the meta that has the most success, you know, Shanghai and Chengdu might finish 1-2, because I don't think the NA teams can match this level of ball dive at all, not even close.
All right. Well, I mean, bold words coming out. This is, you know, this is the crunch time, not the bold predictions section here, April. But no, I do agree with you. It seems like they very well could struggle, especially if they do want to be running with a Symmetra. You got to be worried about the, you know, Jin Musbara, who, you know, as far as if you want to go off recency bias, yeah, he could have been player of the match, but Leave was just consistent the whole way through. But I think this is going to be the most interesting tournament that we've had yet, and that's great. You know, as time goes on, as these teams continue to develop, things just get closer and closer. They become, you know, more tight-knit in the series. So, you know, I'm hoping to not see any kind of crazy blowouts, you know, 4-0s, 3-0s, everything like that throughout this run in the Summer Showdown. I'm hoping that we have close series between the regions, between the squads, and maybe we will end up with that double APAC final. It very well could happen.
It's definitely it's not a prediction. I'm not going to throw a prediction out there, but I think that the caveat is that it has to be a ball dive dominant meta, being that it's the better meta compared to the Sim TP stuff. But if somehow through NA or just through, you know, sheer will from a team like Dallas, and we'll see if Dallas makes it through or not, it's not a guarantee, but it's very likely. If it ends up being a different composition that is far superior, APAC could be in a bit of trouble. We'll have to see if Shanghai can maybe pull out some 24 to 48 hour magic in terms of adapting and pulling through, you know, some real strength like they did on the June Joust. I mean, I think Shanghai the front runners here, but Chengdu for the first time, I think out of the 2 times they're coming into a tournament, I feel much better about their chances here, because I think they went into May Melee probably. You know, they came in, they're the 4th best team, not high expectations. Chengdu look far better now going into Summer Showdown, as long as their comp still works and they can still really manage it well.
Yeah, absolutely. I fully agree. Like, May Melee, when they kind of went in there, I didn't have much faith at all, and it didn't really pay off. But this actually does feel like, you know, a time where they can go in. Am I wrong in saying this is kind of the time where we have, like, both seeds from APAC who are going into this feeling like they can both perform extremely well?
Both feel good. I mean, you have one that is by and far just incredible. Tournament defending champions, by the way, so they got that going for them. But then the second seed from APAC, I think, critically has always felt a little bit weak. This time, I feel like it's definitely stronger. I don't know. I would hope that Chengdu can maybe finish at least 3rd. We'll have to see what the second seed coming through from NA is, because the top 2 seeds from NA always come out really strong. So it always ends up being 2 NA, 1 Shanghai. But now I think you can actually have 2 strong teams from APAC instead of just 1.
All right. Well, we'll have to see how things develop and, you know, who is going to be joining them at the Summer Showdown over from the NA region. That, of course, is going to be decided later on. So, guys, make sure you tune in for those matches, because you absolutely do not want to miss those. You want to see who's going to be competing at the highest level and then start getting those Preds together, and who is going to be able to take the whole thing. Will it be the Dragons winning yet again? Will it be, you know, Dallas Fuel getting another championship, or will it be somebody new? We'll have to just wait and find out. But we appreciate you guys tuning in. Shout out to all of the teams that participated in this homestand, the ones that were able to make it there live, the ones obviously that were playing remotely. It was, a really fun event. You love to see it. It's been an absolutely magnificent experience, and we hope that you guys enjoyed it too. For the Fusion and the Dynasty fans, you can have some camaraderie together, learn to shoot the Pharah. But that's going to do it from us here. We appreciate you guys tuning in. We love you, and we will see you again very soon.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Cheez-It Grooves. So much flavor, it's a mind crunch.